Shenanigans going should just come out ahead, but a lot of the time it's still better for the offlaning team to pull the waves because the alternative is even worse, right? So it's the lesser evil, but that is a lane that if that is how this lane plays out, I feel like that is a win for Heroic. And especially if Ursa has a free lane, this hero is so good when it gets a totally complete start.
Vitaly doing the newfangled axe build, starting with the triple ROPs. Love to see it. This takes me back to axes starting with like double stout shield. Nice old memories.
Triple ring. Well, if you go triple ring of protection, you are kind of signaling that you want to play the lane, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is not... okay, well, he's got a lot of armor, I'll tell you that.
Gonna smoke both sides here, and they're actually heading towards one another. The Bane is gonna break the smoke, but so will the Tusk. Tusk is the one that laid out the vision. Bane has just blocked off the camp for now. So, wards being planted across the wazoo. We'll see a small skirmish for this bounty rune. I don't think Aurora gonna try for this one. I want to try and maybe make it 3-for-1, but no. With the battle hunger out onto Schofield, they just back up. But there's nobody to collect the one that's in the river. So for now, it's actually 2-for-1, but Analog will see the other one. It'll be equal.
How often do you see a smoked mid-hero get the second bounty rune? That's pretty rare, but Analog does it. And gets back in time for blocking the mid-wave at least a little bit, so it keeps it in the river. So that's pretty good. Even Steven start. A little bit of a waste, I guess, for Edge with their sentry. They tried to find an observer that wasn't there. So, I have my eyes on bot lane. I want to see how they play this. When Axe goes triple ring.
I mean, the start for them is not so bad because KJ was skirmishing on the top side of the map, so he's coming to lane with very little HP actually on this Bane. So, not going to be able to post up as much, but it is still a Bane, you know. Still a hard hero to bring down. Michael sees him, doesn't allow him to get the additional angle to harass Vitaly. We'll try to block him off as well. Good stuff from Michael here in the bottom lane.
Interesting to see how hesitant Nigma is to hit the Axe. I feel like if Axe is alone in the lane and Tusk is off fighting the Bane, you should just get in all the pot shots you can. I mean, sure, he's got 3 rings of protection, but he has no regen and he doesn't have counter helix. So they're effectively just 3 hits. Nice attempt there with the Nightmare into the tower, but Michael will only take 1 power shot.
Not yet enough damage to threaten him. On the other side of the map, well, this is a place to be laning, my friend. In front of the tier 2 towers where we need to farm. Oh, that's pretty funny.
Yeah, unfortunately for the side of Edge, like I was talking about, when you're being pulled against like this, you want to take advantage of the small camp, but Puppey has been unable to unblock it now until minute 2, and the big camp he has blocked himself, which you could make a case for maybe opening the big camp. If you think this is how the lane is going to play and you're stronger, maybe that would be a thing. Schofield's going to body block the small camp again. So not going to be possible for Parker and Puppey to take advantage of that. And that in mind, the top lane is probably going to go quite fine here for Whisper.
Having as good a time as expected. Mid lane though, Ember Spirit obviously starts out having a decent time, but now Analog is at level 3. We'll see how things change in the CS department. And Yuma's the one that hasn't really been able to put pressure on the Axe. Vitaly is actually playing this really, really well. This triple ring of protection has garnered him a lot of CS. And he's gotten levels as well. Hasn't really had to blow through many resources. He's chilling, man.
Yuma will be out farming him though. He had another wave and a half coming into tower. So the Ursa is going to top the board here by a lead of 6 creeps over Axe for the time being. With the next waves connecting. Michael trying to get the Lotus. This will be an interesting situation to say the least down bottom.
There's a battle hunger out onto the King Jungles. Tag team has been activated. There's the Nightmare onto Axe. He's trying to buy time with the snowball. He knows that he's probably going to die, but hoping they get the first blood. But unfortunately, it is level 2 Fury swipes. You need to get out of here. Vitaly, only with 1 point into counter helix, also knows that he needs to run. Nice first blood. They get themselves the Lotus as well. Good start for Heroic.
Yeah, getting the first blood on the Ursa puts him way ahead of everybody else in this game in terms of net worth. Already a distance of 400 down to the Sven of Parker. And they did have a couple of tank. Okay, he's going to get fall down
They're actually
bottom.
gonna
Nightmare
call
again.
Yuma. Good nightmare from KJ. They actually snowball forward. They want to make this dive, but it's a little bit too far. Still does have that healing lotus, of course, so definitely not a viable target at the moment.
Vitaly going for the Urn build. We've seen this popularized recently. Offlane Axis will go Urn, sometimes Vessel. Makes for a much, much later Blade Mail / Vanguard. I mean, you generally just don't go Vanguard if you go Vessel. It's too much of a build-up.
I can understand the build for this game. There's a DK
here, but maybe at the same time, Blade Mail is not the best against specifically Ursa because he can enrage and largely ignore the Blade Mail damage. The Vessel is great against DK. Maybe it's good enough.
Speaking of DK, he's actually about to get solo killed by PP. PP? Solo killing this Ember? Okay. Still does have a long cooldown on the Slide of Fist, but he's chasing. Denies some creeps in front of this DK. He's thinking about throwing in the chain gang, but while that's happening, Vitaly and the gang do manage to find a kill down bottom. KJ is down. Man, they're laning this really, really well from the side of Edge in this bottom lane.
This mid lane is not supposed to go this well for Ember. I'll say that with confidence. Like, the fact that Analog has more denies, which is a given. Dragon Knight will always get that, but PP has the same CS. It's really good news here. That Max Flame Guard. He's able to make it work for himself. And that's good news. This was a lane that you and I both wrote off as definitely going to be a loss. Not, you know, not like crushing him, similar to a Huskar, but definitely a lane where you were anticipating PP falling behind by like 60-40, 65-30, 35 or something like that at the very least. Keeping it 50-50 right now.
Actually, he's diving. He's trying to go onto Analog. There's a charge coming in to dissuade him from doing this. But he backs off in time. He'll see the charge. He'll be able to dodge it with the slight. Doesn't even bother. It's like, whatever, bro.
Having to help DK against Ember, though, is super good for Parker Sven, right?
Well, it's even better for the Ember Spirit if they can get a kill on KJ. KJ in danger here, hoping to maybe close in onto the double damage rune, but the AD gets taken by PP. Vitaly even came over to help, and now they're going back onto Analog. Michael is here. They found the ice shards. This DK is gone. Edge getting another kill and maybe making it a third as Schofield cannot charge anyway to safety. PP is on him. Only has chains in 6 seconds though and has no mana. So the tankiness of the Spirit Breaker will protect him, but it did nothing for the DK in this mid lane.
This is a great start for Edge. This is going significantly better than I was anticipating in the first 6 minutes. So very good news for them. X is doing quite well at bottom lane against Ursa. He's got a really fat wave coming into him. Holy, that's like 3 range creeps and 10 melee creeps or something like that. So juicy. Almost the same net worth as the Ursa now. 35 and 4 on the CS. King Jungle's trying to invade here. Reinforcements are
Here comes a
arriving.
little fight. They have Yuma as well as Analog here. Vitaly was chasing down King Jungles. Michael will buy some time with the snowball. There's the core from Vitaly, but Puppey also making his way over. Michael wanna be the first one to die because KJ got a nightmare out onto Vitaly. Analog now got the Shrine of Wisdom. KJ is out. The question is, will Analog be able to follow the gang? Yuma, he needs to leave. PP has steering chains again in 6 seconds. It's only level 1, unfortunately. And Vitaly doesn't have Blink, does have Phase Boots. Trying to chase in onto Analog. Here's the steering chains at lost. Battle Hunger thrown in as well. And Analog should end up dying for this one. He got the Shrine of Wisdom, but he gives up a very juicy kill.
Dude, I don't know about you. I think this sleepwalking thing is going to get changed, that you can walk onto cliffs. It makes no sense. He actually sleepwalked Axe up on the high ground, and he had to TP down there. In spite of that, Edge still come out of that quite okay. Now, losing both Wisdoms is, of course, a big deal, especially the supports of Heroic really needed that. But you're still looking okay on the Dire side. Generally, I'm not a fan of a team that loses both Wisdoms, but the trade that they got in the overall game state, it's actually relatively easily salvageable here. Not the end of the world for the Dire.
Like you mentioned about the Axe earlier, this time it was the Ursa that gets a pretty massive wave coming his direction, but the main thing is just we are all farming. Vitaly's gonna start skipping waves. Yuma's actually coming over, hoping to maybe punish something here. He's not gonna go for Michael. He literally jumps over him, goes straight for Vitaly, as now there's a Spirit Breaker charge heading over as well. KJ trying to make this move happen, but beautiful ice shots from Michael prevents any approach. But Schofield is not canceling his charge. Okay, now he cancels it in the most
At the worst
awkward
possible
position
time.
ever.
It's going to be 6
Well,
for
that's why you
Schofield.
can. That's why you can manipulate movement to bail your allies out of trouble with the nightmare. That's why it's
I mean,
like
you can
this.
make it walk through trees, but not over cliffs.
But then how are you gonna cliff tease you?
Yeah, that's a good counter argument.
Dire's top tower is under
Fast level
attack.
6 on Spirit Breaker. That's what you get for those 2 wisdoms. See if Schofield can find moves around the map here. In theory, a really cool hero-player combination, right? Schofield is known for his relentless aggression and playing very far up around the map. Spirit Breaker is a hero that takes a lot of advantage if you have that killer instinct as a player. But so far, 0 assists
Dire's top
would
tower
disprove that theory.
We'll see if he's able to get something in time. As Yuma is pinging out Vitali, as Parker is just farming away with the quad strength. But nah. Vitali now does have the Urn of Shadows, Phase Boots, Sister Shroud. Yeah, killing this guy is not easy at the moment.
If you can pick X Tusk and you can draw with Ursa Bane, you can pick X into almost anything, right?
If ever someone's like, bro, it's a hard X game. Dude, I saw Vitali win against the Ursa, bro. It'll be fine.
is under attack.
Mid lane, the first Nether Strike of the game gets expended onto Michael, but I'm not sure if they have the damage to finish him off just yet. They finish, they get the ultimate from the DK. Schofield gets himself burnt down by the Sun Ray of Poppy. There will be a call from Vitali. Not gonna catch onto all the right heroes. Analog, hoping to come back in, but they really don't want to overextend here. Oh man, Whisper, he's still top. He did have to send a creep down towards bottom to assist there. Unfortunately, for Edge, they get the kill, but not enough to put more pressure on the tower.
And the thing, whenever this is the game state where Darkseer and Sven are just laning against each other, this is one of those interesting matchups because both heroes really want access to the camps, right? So Darkseer, the way he outfarms some safe lane carries is by pushing in the wave and then stealing their small camp and stealing their big camp. But Sven pushes the back so fast the other way that he can't really stop that. Yeah,
Axe.
this
Very,
time
very
around,
dead.
survive.
They have the level
in spite
2
of
Brood
Whisper
Fire.
having a free lane, he's still behind by 30 CS. Sven is just more efficient.
The Darkseid also had to be sending out his illusion or his creep with the Iron Shell towards mid to go stack somewhere else. And Sven
Yeah.
just been farming, like you said.
It makes an interesting change to the dynamic against Sven because you can now farm the small camp while you're farming the wave by just sending over your creep.
Is under attack.
But of course, once again, Sven still can compete with that as one of the fastest farmers. Clearing out a nice little ancient stack here with Michael.
Dire's top tower is
Closing on
under
an Echo Saber now for Parker. Completely dwarfing the Ursa now. 1,000 net worth up. 70 CS up. At 12 minutes against the Ursa. He has 150 CS in 12 minutes. That's crazy high. That is actually, even for a Sven with free farm, 150 CS in 12 minutes is wild.
I remember when I was first learning to play carry and they're just like, bro, just try to get 50 by 10 minutes. No, 150 by 12 is something else.
Dire are scanning.
My goodness. Oh, at the very least for Heroic, their counterpart on the Ursa is about to finish the Battle Fury. It's flying in right now from the courier. So that's going to accelerate his farm speed. And the thing is, it does take, I think, an item plus for the Sven to really feel confident fighting into the Ursa. So, might not be able to keep this massive lead going for himself. And right now, he just wants to kill Whisper's creep. And he gets it too. Nice, they gave the gold to him. They smoke immediately as well. They're going to go through the Twin Gate and we'll see if they find anybody.
Radiant structure.
Oh, they might find Whisper before they even get there. Whisper, Whisper. Get back, my
You're not
friend.
a god
Surge on
strength.
cooldown
This is
for
not that
2
easy.
seconds. Michael can't find the angle for the snowball, so they can't get him. He's fine.
They ganked the creep again. Oh, also Whisper has the Sister Shroud, which is obviously completely broken against Sven.
Dire's
This
bottom
item's getting
tower
removed.
is under
It's not even getting reworked, it's getting removed. I'm calling it right here, right now.
Oh, well, you can only dream, Cindery. Don't tempt us with a
dream
good time,
every
please.
day. I dream of a better world snare.
I still, on occasion, have nightmares of Blink Dagger still having a mana cost. Tough times.
Did you play Dota back in Dota 1?
Dire's top tower is under
Yeah.
attack.
Do you remember when Blink Dagger wasn't cancelled by taking damage?
Not that far back. Okay. Just dead.
Yeah, that was something.
Not that far back.
It was one of the most iconic patches of the game, actually. 648B. The rivalry back then with the legendary player Vigos, and then MYM and SK Gaming, all of those teams. A different time, and then obviously after that, it was a very elegant change to Blink Dagger to make it cancel on damage for 3 seconds. It was a clever way to solve the problem, because the meta in 648B was like 8 heroes playing with Blink Daggers, and you could just blink in and out of fights, right? Pretty crazy. Imagine that
Maybe
in modern Dota. Imagine if Blink didn't cancel on damage right now.
Oh my god.
How that changes the game.
Radiant's middle tower.
I do not want to imagine that. I hope we never have to encounter such vile things in our games anymore. We've left those dark days behind us. As analog, he's middle alone.
curiosity.
He might get ganked here. Snowball forward. I think they're going on to this DKA, killing him without any help arriving in time, and that is indeed the case. Schofield, he did start to charge through, but he arrives way too late to help. Yuma allows his TP to complete, but immediately backs off to safety in the trees. Gets
This
a Blink
is not
Dagger
the
for
impact
himself.
you want out of a last pick Dragon Knight. It's just,
Yeah.
it's not good enough. He's bottom net worth. You pick it into a favorable matchup, you pick it with Darkseer, you want the tower damage, you want to be able to play together with your Ion Shell. You're 15 minutes in and Dragon Knight has very little to show for this. This makes me quite hopeful for Edge. I mean, you're looking at the net worth and it looks even and that's fine, but keep in mind the way the net worth is distributed. This is a really farmed Darkseer, but there's no good wall target. So he can't fully realize the value of his gold compared to... If he could swap net worths with Dragon Knight right now, that would be amazing for Heroic.
Are scanning.
That would be... Yeah, there was a time in Dota that you could also help each other get items.
Oh, I remember that. That was good times. That was fun. Well, Whisper is trying to build into a Orchid Malevolence. He did this yesterday up against AVULUS in their 2-0 victory, and it really made a big difference. So hopefully it's going to do the same for him here. As him and Heroic, they smoke up. Let's see if they can find anybody. The Phoenix is the one they come across on top of the bounty rune slot. It's really not a great kill unless they get bursted. No, does get the angle. There's the stun, the creeps! But unfortunately, it's not enough. Yuma had the enrage going, comes out of the start, kills off the egg. Now PP gets involved in the engagement, finds the steering chains out onto Yuma. Yuma, though, has some help. There's a Fiend's Grip going in onto PP. PP is going to die here. Analog provides the final damage necessary. However, now that Parker has shown himself, they have the right-click damage of the Sven. Vitaly able to dunk onto Whisper and secure his life. That did cost a buyback on Puppey to achieve, so it's a 3-for-2 engagement with a buyback. Heroic will definitely take it.
It's kind of whatever for Puppey to buy back in this instance. I mean, I suppose it does delay his shard, but it's not the end of the world. Phoenix is one of the best supports in Dota without net worth. You can do so much because of the raw power of your spells, so compared to, let's say, supports that need a Blink Dagger or need some sort of Glimmer Cable utility items to really activate themselves in the fight, Phoenix, in theory, can play in a 40-minute game with 0 gold. If you get on any good Icarus dive into Fire Spirits and Egg, your hero, just with levels, does so much. So, I don't think Puppey is too phased by this buyback. It was also dirt cheap, obviously. There's no net worth. So. I do question his item build, though. It's going Voidstone Tranquil Shard. Interesting. Maybe he thinks the Voidstone value is just that good. Keep farming with Fire Spirits nonstop. I don't know. Maybe he was planning a Yules against Spirit Breaker and Darkseer. Probably more likely the case.
Probably finishes short, then comes back for the Yules. Eventually turn that into a Wind Waker. Could be pretty strong. Like 70 minutes in the game. We'll get there. Things very even, however. Parker has been caught up to relatively by Yuma in closing the gap with this Battle Fury. About to pick up a Basher now as well on this hero. So I think this Ursa is gearing up to fight. Maybe wants to wait for the full BKB before he does so. Definitely starting to get a bit threatening on the bear.
Oh, he has to get Basher and then BKB. It's going to be a while.
Is under attack. Dire's top tower is under attack.
1K the
There's
lead
no
for Heroic
greens.
though. A very numerically even game, but alright.
Oh,
CLA
bottom.
Schofield gonna get done.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. 12 coat of armor stacks. 5 armor being drained right now by the axe. And it's tier 1 tower. Good stuff. Wait, they're in Roche. They're gonna go Roche. They're gonna try and sneak this away with the Ursa while the tier 1 tower is being taken. But I think they know about this.
Oh,
Yeah,
they are
Edge
mass
know.
TPing. This is a big moment. They get the smoke off. Uh-oh. They'll be on
They
time.
come.
This is a total disaster for Heroic if they get caught.
Ice shots gonna go into the pit. So only connect onto KJ though, as they leapt out with Yuma just before that could get a connection. So not the best Roche takers, unfortunately for them, but they do have God Strength on this Fen. They could try for it.
I don't like that they started that with shards. If they were so confident that they were rushing, they should have started with Axe Call. Then they could have killed Ursa as well.
Charge through from Schofield and connect onto the Sven. Vitaly gets the call out onto Whisper. The Dogs here though, not dead just yet. And Ursa jumps into the pit looking for Parker. Parker's gone. Michael's about to die as well. Uses a shard to protect himself, but it's not enough. Roche about to fall. Yuma picks up the Aegis. PP was hoping to claim it. He jumped into the pit looking for this one. Instead, he finds nothing. Supernova even committed by Puppy outside of the fight. And as it explodes, Heroic walk away with this Aegis. They did lose the life of Analog, but they gained so much in return.
That fight made a lot of sense, and the team won.
What? Well, on the bright side, you know, Michael did get a blink dagger after all is said and done, but yeah, if they'd initiated that blink call, they probably just kill the axe immediately, the Ursa immediately and still get the Aegis, but doesn't end up that way. Nice little jump back from Yuma. I like how he was focused purely on the objective. He sees a fight happening outside the base, he's like, nah guys, we are killing Parker and we're getting this Aegis.
Charge Schofield.
Oh no, big fight around the Tormentor in the top lane. Yuma, this time around, he was caught out. Does get off the enrage though, turns around, Fiend Script from KJ. Hits onto the Ember Spirit, no escape for him. Beautiful charge through from Schofield. And both of these heroes die, they set up the Tormentor take. Heroic lose nothing, and in the blink of an eye, they now at a 5k gold lead.
Yeah, now we're talking about an actual advantage here. This Roshan fight was so important, and now they get this follow-up fight as well for free. Just a really, really good news here for the side of Heroic. And of course, the key thing in the Roche fight beforehand was Parker didn't get to do anything, because he's in there on Sven hitting Roche. He gets intercepted. He tried to stand in a corner so his blink could get ready and he could blink out, and then he got stopped. So he was unable to get that reset and actually connect on a hero. He gets kept in there by a back wall, and the fight is just over. And this top move, that one was dead on arrival. As soon as that charge came through, they didn't stand a chance.
Oh, Parker now trying to build into his next item. He's going to eschew getting the BKB. He's actually queued up the immediate Butterfly for himself. Butterfly, Harpoon as the immediate items. What do you make of this? I mean, I guess there is a lot of BKB piercing disable, but can you afford to play without BKB if you have Blink and you're playing into DK, Darkseer, Spirit Breaker? We'll talk about it in a second as this DS is getting jumped on at the moment. Whisper in the gang. Well, gonna try and maybe fight around this as Whisper's surviving for a very long time. There's gonna be a big vacuum. Yuma jumps in as well. The right click damage onto Vitaly. They want this axe. They aren't gonna get him. The Supernova's gonna burst instead. Stunning up everybody. Darkseer already gone. Schofield hoping to finish off Vitaly, but he can't do it. Held bay by the stun. At the very least, Analog able to clean up Michael on the other edge of the fight. But Heroic, they responded to Vitaly. They ended up losing multiple heroes. King Jungles dies in the top lane as well. What a response from Edge. Beautiful initiation from Vitaly.
And night and day when Parker gets to hit stuff, right? That's just Sven in a nutshell. Do you get kited or do you get to attack? And this time around, you know, some big swings through, and they definitely have the damage. And this time as well, the Phoenix had mega impact. Big heal from the Sunray kept the axe alive. You got the Supernova stun onto, I think, 3 heroes. Spirit Breaker tried his best to get the X kill in the end, but just short of it. He was trying to Nether Strike him, and then he took the Supernova stun, was out of range afterwards for Nether Strike, charged him, and instantly got Storm Hammered. So, good coverage there for the side of Edge.
They're actually going bottom. They're charging onto Vitaly with the Spirit Breaker. They jump in first with Analog, and here comes the Spirit Breaker. Vitaly gets caught in. Michael is nearby, so they don't think they have the confidence to actually kill him heads up. After he activated Blade Mail, Schofield is like, yeah, this is not happening. Let's just get back.
I wonder if
Ursa.
this Orchid from Whisper is going to come back to bite him. So I feel like in the fight that we just saw, it didn't really have the impact that he was hoping for. He's now going to go for a Blink. I suppose considering Sven is playing without BKB, it's actually even interesting to Orchid the Sven. If you vacuum him in and Orchid him, he can't get off Warcry, he can't get off his ult and his Stormhammer and actually fight back. Of course, the dream target is probably Orchiding the Axe as he is blinking in as a full-on counter initiation, or Orchiding the Phoenix. Alright, you have to deal with the wild card of the Tusk Blink Dagger.
They scout out where PP is at. They have an idea. They get the wards out. There's the start from Analog. There's the charge. There's the burst. Woo! No Ember Spirits. He gets Orchided, so no Remnants out either. And he's not buying BKB, so that's going to affect him for quite some time.
Yeah, it's an awkward game, right? You don't really feel like buying BKB against Bane and Spirit Breaker, but at the same time, then you don't have it against Vacuum, you don't have it against the DK. Yuma has... Oh, he's getting
come
Orchid.
top.
Nice Nightmare.
Okay, there's going to be a very nice Nightmare into the Fiend's grip. Snowball save will be there, however. Maybe they turn back in onto Parker. Parker's in some trouble. He gets bounced back with the Nether Strike beyond the wall. Parker's trying to hit, but he cannot. His own illusion is hitting him, not doing enough damage, but disabling the Blink Dagger. He ends up dead. Yuma was finishing off Michael, and it turns out that tier 2 tower defense much more expensive than you thought it would be.
Yeah, Parker was going for a surprise play there with the Orchid reveal onto the Ursa, knowing that Ursa has Ags and not BKB. He figured they could pull a quick one, but King Jungles was nearby for the defensive Nightmare, and that play was over immediately. And that is probably the most pivotal fight of the entire game that you just saw there. That's going to be 2 tier 2 towers, the enemy carry dead, you lost nothing. So probably a 5,000 gold swing, all things together. And a crucial timing for Sven, just totally missed now. As you've already established, it's not a game where Sven can just go in. Because he needs to worry about Fiend Script the whole game, he needs to worry about Charge the whole game. Dragon Tail even is super annoying. This is looking very heroic now.
The scary thing about this Orchid as well, when you get to the Abyssal Blade on Ursa, if you have Abyssal, right, if he tries to Orchid you and you Abyssal him first, you actually end up winning that fight. You're tanky enough that you generally survive throughout the initial silence, can get off your Aghanims. So if that starts to happen, then the Ursa will really feel like, man, my window for being able to deal with this Ursa has passed. And I would say it's more or less already passed. Ursa is ahead of you, and he's going to get to his next item before you, so he's ready to fight sooner than you are.
Yeah, this is definitely more than good enough for Yuma. And let's remember, this was his second pick Ursa. They first picked Darkseer, second picked Ursa, and he's having a flawless game. He's 6-0-9, 300 CS to his name. Very nice individual performance. I always like seeing Yuma on this hero. I think it's one of his best. I like him on the Ursa, I like him on the Sven. Just these in-your-face burst-type heroes really suit him well for his playstyle. And, well, if you're good at Sven and Ursa, you're probably also good at Ursa versus Sven. Understand the limitations of the heroes very well.
Radiant are scanning.
We'll see exactly how Parker's going to respond to these challenges, as he himself also plays pretty well on the Ursa. But some challenges are afoot here. What will help is, of course, always going to be the fact that he has Vitaly with him. The problem that Vitaly is going to have is surviving after he jumps the Ursa. If they can find a way to just keep him alive, maybe he jumps calls, Michael comes in immediately with the snowball, just to make sure that the Ursa is wasting time, and then the Sven can come in. But it is high execution type of stuff. You can't have that happen immediately as you get Blink vacuum walled. What if Schofield is charging through? What if there's a Fiend's Grip? There's a lot to worry about. You might need a Lincoln Sphere or two, maybe even some Lotuses. That actually might be easier to achieve.
I think if Whisper gets a good vacuum, you lose, period. Like, you actually just can't afford, with the lineup that you have, if Axe and Sven get vacuumed, Axe can BKB and try to fight his way out, but the type of fight you get into gets extremely awkward. So you kind of have to be the ones making the move first, I think. But then you're dealing with defensive Nightmare, you're dealing with the counter initiation of the Darkseer, of course, if he's not your primary target. Speaking of Darkseer, completing a Lotus Orb now. Whisper is big. Same net worth as the Sven. What the hell?
First pick Darkseer, man. And here they are.
Picking it for a reason. No doubt. Time for Roach to spawn in about It's a pretty long respawn here, if I'm reading the clock right. A minute and a half to go. Heroic
Unfortunate.
are obviously unaware, so they're going to start controlling the area.
Analog did use his DK form though, so this will be just coming back off cooldown by the time Roshan is respawning, which is really bad news for Edge. They would have liked it to come back just as the DK form finishes, but here they smoke Heroic. While they're still strong with Analog, he's going to charge forward on the high ground. He has BKB Hurricane Pike, but doesn't want to just go immediately. They're going to go for the longer wrap, it seems. But it looks like Edge has an awareness that this is taking place. They're not going to get caught out. Actually, Yuka just jumps in onto Poppy and eviscerates him. Analog comes in as well to help kill off Michael. It's a double kill for the Ursa. But now with Vitaly, major call. Allows him to kill off Whisper before any spells are even cast. All of a sudden, Yuma isolated from the rest of his team. He needs help. He's not going to get it. Analog trying to TP out. Michael says no. Brought back, hit him with the Walrus Punch, cancels it out. Heroic, they thought they had the jump. It looked so crisp and clean, but Vitaly, he says, no, you guys are playing way too aggressively.
It's so ironic that this great initiation from Yuma turns into a total disaster because of the initiation angle following it, right? I love that play from Ursa. Phoenix throws out some fire spirits from the fog. Yuma's like, Puppy's here, I'm gonna jump burst him instantly. He buys back on the Phoenix. Didn't even make it back to the fight, I think, so that was a 4v5 follow-up. The problem was they stacked on the high ground in such an awkward way that they could find that massive axe call into Stormhammer. You just can't allow that to happen on the road. It's such a big and important find for Edge to even keep this game alive. Because think of it this way, Ursa jumps in and bursts the Phoenix without using Enrage. So the only way he dies after that is if he gets blink orchided by Sven and doesn't have anyone cover for him and save him. He should be able to reliably get help though by his teammates, but when they run in as a cluster and just get comboed, that is basically all of Heroic's lead down the drain. They were up 12k, now we're down to 6, and the Aegis in going the other way. Edge are back. Fitty game, baby.
Another Aegis, and they actually get another call. KJ gets caught. There will be a vacuum to the low ground for Vitaly, but KJ just gets burned away in the end. Battle Hunger takes him out. Parker also finds the stun onto Schofield. Schofield forced to pop his BKB. Yes, BKB, what the hell? He has it active. Will he be able to turn around onto any target? He sees PP, but yet again, there's a nice job. They burst down onto Michael. That's a dieback for the Tusk. Stun now onto PP with the Dragon Tail. They get the kill. Ember Spirit is down. Parker doesn't have a BKB, remember. So as he rushes forward with this Aegis, that's the only protection that he has. Thankfully, Puppy was there to lay out protection with the Supernova that will give him space to retreat. But this time around, Edge are the ones that get punished. They went for the jump. Does not go well for them.
I definitely think Heroic should have tried to claim more than that. It's easy to say from our perspective with our vision, but Supernova was down. Axe had no BKB. Sven is running out of God Strength at this point. If you would have pursued that, perhaps you could have got some extras. But it's good enough. Stabilizing the game once more.
Looks like we're not going to be having one of those days where one team is just cleanly able to win. Both of these series we've had today have had moments like this where things are going really well for one team. A disastrous fight seems to swing the momentum. Because now after that engagement, you can't play aggressive with this Aegis for now. You gotta hold back for a bit.
At least wait for next God Strength in 30 seconds. Supernova in 50. Honestly, I would like to see them try to take some initiative immediately. If they can smoke in like 20 seconds with their Tusk connecting, I think this is a very natural move to make. If you can get the waves far enough in, should be good enough. Schofield. Not gonna get spotted. Soul of the Tormentor, one of the strengths of Ursa, of course, can take this without any problems. Will be a nice little Charge of Darkness upgrade for the Spirit Breaker. One of the most quote-unquote boring shards in the game. Most shards at this point change some sort of interaction or give you a new spell. This one literally just gives you 100 move speed on shard. That's it.
Yay.
Nothing else.
Bottom lane, Analog. He wishes he had a little bit more move speed. He might not have been caught here. DP's on top of him with the Blade Mail. They might want him. Snowball, we'll save for now. They actually turn towards KJ to cancel out the Fiend script. And now Stormhammer in onto Analog. Forced to pop a BKB. Yuma making his way into the fight, but cannot progress into the supernova. He needs to get back. Schofield committed his life on the other side to create some space for Analog to get up, and Analog TP is right in front of them. Analog! What the hell, brother? His BKB finishes, so he dies so easily.
This has to be a lane of barracks, right? 70 seconds on Sven, you have no wall. Or excuse me, on DK. Your God Strength is going to end, but I don't think Heroic have any fight in them for a while now. So Edge, back up the high ground we go. I don't know, man. This game is so chaotic and so crazy. It feels like the deciding factor is honestly who gets the jump, right? Like you get this opening that you think is good for Heroic, but they don't have the damage nearby, so the counter initiation is just way too easy for the side of Edge. If you're gonna go in with this DK plus Bane, you need Ursa to kill these heroes. Your other heroes do not have damage. I think that's the biggest concern for their lineup when you look at it now. This Dragon Knight build, Blink, BKB, Pike, he hits like a wet noodle, you know, like nobody cares that DK's attack. It's the Ursa that's gonna bring the heroes down. So if he's not there immediately pouncing on the targets that you stun, Edge are gonna outlast them. They're just gonna Sunray heal, they're gonna save them with snowballs, they're gonna eventually get some Slight Chains plus Sven Burst or Axe Finds a Call, whatever it is. The moves from Heroic have to be quick and decisive if they want to win the fights, and they were doing such a good job at that earlier. They kind of just lost their mojo. Now it's gonna be tough to get it back.
I mean, it definitely would be one thing if this was the Malrine build on Analog with the Orchid into the Bloodthorn for him. Then you're like, okay, perhaps the two heroes you can find these kills, but like you said, with his build, just don't have the damage output. He's gonna scale into an Aghanim Scepter afterwards, get that Elder Dragon form, but before he gets there, he's gonna have to contend with a fight as they're smoked up on Edge, heading towards you. They have a very good idea of where you're at. They even popped the Warcry. Batali and Parker, they're the ones that want to open things up. Best case scenario, you find some kills, get a tier 2, and then still claim the Wisdom Shrine. Oh no, the TP in. Schofield, but he BKBs immediately. He's still alive. Back wall from Whisper onto Parker as well as this Ember Spirit. And now they just quickly kill off Michael. Fiend's Grip onto Parker brings him very low, but the Bears unable to follow up because PP kept both him and Analog corralled onto the high ground. This Ursa needs to get into the fight. The Sven is escaping. The Sven is still alive. He's not dead just yet. How on earth is he still living? They will find Puppy. Parker blinks out to safety, hides in the trees to TP out. So he manages to escape. The rest of his team, though, they committed their lives just to save him, and they end up losing 3.
That fight selection is insane. They had 5 seconds left on their Aegis when that fight began. So the full Fiend's Grip on Parker goes out. His Aegis expires in the middle of the fight. He doesn't heal from it at all because he took some residual damage from Enfeeble. And somehow he makes his way out on 5%. That could have been total disaster. Just got caught in a really awkward spot with that vacuum next to the tower into a full duration Fiend's Grip that nobody could stop. They orchided the Ember so he couldn't help right away. I mean, crazy stuff. Heroic's back.
Topsy-turvy game going back and forth.
Yeah.
We saw there Sven did 465 damage to Ember. I imagine that would have been the illusion from Whisper. But still, this game for Edge, if they'd gotten that fight, secured it, that's a tier 2. That's them taking a lot of map control. That's them claiming the outpost. Maybe even stick around long enough that you can steal both shrines. But everything has changed now. We are back to that 8k lead. But crucially, we now have BKB available on Yuma with the Abyssal Blade as well completed on the Ursa.
Yeah, the BKB is big because it gives him a lot more plays in the fights. I think it's nice for him to not settle for just having Axe only. I think it's debatable whether Axe is the right purchase in this game to begin with, but now that he has both, he can very easily stick and find a lot of impacts. Oh.
What's coming in for Edge right now? PP has something flying in on the Courier. It's the Aghanim Scepter now available for this Ember. So his fight prowess has just increased markedly. And we have a Pyrrhic Cloak on Axe as well. So this is a pretty good increase in their effectiveness in these engagements. They're actually going to port bottom. They want to start a fight here. Sven walking himself away. He was being rushed into by Heroic. They're not going to get to him in time.
gate top. They're not going to find anyone up here either. PP just killed the wave and ran off.
Me and Waga were theory crafting the other day about maybe twin gates should have like, you should only be able to use one, so it has like a 45-second charge. So you have like 2 charges on the twin gate, so you can go in and out, but you can't just like keep chaining the movements all the way around.
I mean, just having a cooldown on it would be enough, right? I think. You go through the gate and it's on cooldown for you.
Yeah, that's the idea.
It's like, it's a big commitment to go through the gate. I wouldn't mind that. At the same time, I think it's not that many situations across games where people gate one way, kill something, and immediately gate back the other way, right? A lot of the time, you're kind of sticking around where you go anyway. But I don't mind.
Wherever Solo is, he's laughing. He's like, "What? You don't go back through the gate, bro? What are you doing?"
In the super early game, you can't afford it on mana cost.
Yeah. I've literally seen Solo buy mangoes to be able to go through the twin gate faster.
Oh, back we go again. Okay. The 30 seconds are up. And we're back to bottom now. And now that they're back to bottom and smoking here, Edge are top.
Somebody has to reveal on the map at some point, gang. Now we actually smoke up on Edge as well. And they are going to start heading towards the southeast. Nobody really ahead of them immediately. It's only this Ancient Thunderhide in front. Schofield goes up the high ground, so he's not going to break the smoke either. So they have the high ground positioning here on the side of Heroic. Will Edge try to go up the hill? They throw in the remnant, they go forward with the Ember Spirit. PP finds one of these heroes. He starts the fight, allowing Parker to come in and blow up KJ. Buyback from the Bane immediately. Ursa trying to lock down this Ember Spirit on the other side of the fight, but PP's out. Analog now, trying to get some stuns in, but Vitali hits him with the core right next to the Supernova. It's about to explode. He gets away from it with his BKB. However, he's now surrounded by 4 dire heroes. Walrus Punch will be there. The damage will still be out, but he's still surviving. This DK is so tanky. Fiend's Grip now going in onto the Ember Spirit with the Hurricane Pipe. Eventually, they do kill him. And now KJ knows that he has nothing left to do in this fight. He will die. Schofield ended up dying towards the east of the fight as well. And they're not done with the chase. Whisper pops his BKB. Has TP out, but hasn't deployed it just yet. We'll use it now, but it might just be a little bit too late, just in time. Whisper with the calculation.
Well, that's a 4 for 1, 4 for 0. That was a dieback. And a Roche for the side of Edge. That was a really nice initiation from PP, just throwing in the remnant. I think he got a 3-man chain. Their jungle, and that set up for a beautiful follow through. And in that fight, Parker not dealt with enough, right? That's the key thing. He's not forced out of the fight by the Ursa plus Bane or truly taken out by the Spirit Breaker. It's the same story over and over again. If Sven is not targeted by Ursa, he has free reign. It's the one hero that can kill him and needs to be on him at all times. If Ursa's killing other targets, Sven gets to play unless he is locked down by like a Nightmare or Fiend's Grip or Charge. You know, you have 2 options essentially. Either you pile on the Sven with Ursa plus stuns, or you kite the Sven with Bane, Spirit Breaker, whatever, and then Ursa and DK together have to kill the other cores. Otherwise, this is just not really going to work. And the fights are very chaotic in nature, of course, because there's also snowball saves, there's Yules, there's sun rays healing people. There's plenty of problems you need to try to play your way around.
I think in particular, they need some defensive item on KJ. He has the Solar Crest to help other people out, but he needs like some 4-star, even Ghost Scepter might not really help you here. There's an Ember Spirit and a Phoenix. Gonna queue up the blink now on the Bane. Okay, so maybe that's gonna be the item that allows him to keep some distance. Because I think you're right about the kiting thing. Him dying at the beginning of the fight pretty much means it's over. You have no easy way to stop the Sven from approaching. They're gonna smoke forward. Yuma, oh my goodness. PP gone. He breaks both of the smokes, but he gets hexed. He does manage to get all the way through, though. That was kind of bizarre. BKB popped by the target now. Gets the call back in onto Schofield. Yuma jumping in. He can't find the kill. Fuel Scepter will keep Michael alive for now. They now end up eliminating Schofield as Yuma, he has to deal with Parker, who's making a backstab into the fight. Analog, as he realizes he's been isolated, he can do nothing but die. King Jungles will suffer the same fate as well. Rolled onto Parker once more. Got the God Strength, got the Storm Hammer, got the kill. Double hits, double kill. Parker God gets a team wipe for his squad.
Radiant's middle tower
And if there's anything that probably satisfies Parker greatly, it is beating Heroic in this fashion. He probably feels great about this one. The buybacks have to come out in force here. That's just the first one. The ball's gonna miss. There's the Ursa
They still don't have Whisper though. Schofield going forward. They're trying to bring down this axe, but Juma's been held in the air, just kited and zoned away. Analog, he dies because he still doesn't have his BKB. That's a dieback on the DK. On the north, Parker able to chase Schofield, getting himself another double kill. He has no need for racks, my friend. He wants to end this game, and the game indeed will go down. GG, well played is called. Edge get game 1 victory in kind of emphatic fashion.
How well the lane is going to go with Chen Lifestealer against Axe Willow. If I feel instinctively, I think that's a really free lane for Axe. I think it's even easier than it would have been against Abaddon, which would also have been a good Axe lane. So, well, remains to be seen how this is going to play out. Of course, Edge are up by a game. And this is a totally different draft from them than last game, by the way. 0 overlapping heroes, everything is new. And on the side of Heroic, yeah, no repeat heroes for them either, but they have a couple of heroes from the previous game at least, between the Axe and the Phoenix.
So, Mr. Cinderin, I'm going to ask you a question, another trivia question. I guarantee you do not know the answer to this. How many games do you think Parker has played Lifestealer in his career?
46.
Okay. For bonus points, when was his last game on Lifestealer?
4 months ago.
You could not be more wrong, my friend. Lifestealer for Parker, 3 games, 1 and 2, and the last game he played was in 2024. So, not something he plays all the time, but I imagine he's been grinding pubs with this hero.
I mean, close enough, right? I could have said like 200.
Yes, very, very close. Only here, what, 2 orders of magnitude off.
Good enough.
Well, we did get a 2-2 trade on the bounties. Nothing untoward here. And this, my friend, is a classic. Park versus Queen of Pain middle. This is down to... Is it still down to pure lane mechanics like it used to be?
With the way the game has developed over the years with water runes and everything, I honestly feel like this game most of the time is probably just going to be pretty even. Like, both heroes will get farm. You can both spell farm. One has the orb, one has the scream. Historically speaking, when this lineup was, or this matchup was at its closest, it was still puck favored. But I don't know. I don't think. I think it's like a 55-45 lane now, maybe.
We'll see how it all pans out as time goes on. I don't anticipate either of them really being able to kill the other, so that's not where the aggression is going to emerge from.
If it is a 50-50 lane, I think PP will win it slightly based on what happened last game. Considering Analog was unable to beat him in the DK versus Ember matchup, which is a more lopsided one, you would think PP will win this as Quap versus Puck if his lane mechanics are just better than Analog's.
Down bottom, Parker with Puppy against Whisper and Schofield. You were wondering how it's going. So far, it seems like the Axe is doing pretty well for himself. Schofield is actually falling quite low on health, but does have a Fairy Fire. So don't think Puppy will be able to kill him there.
Yeah, running the Mana Burn Convert standard stuff. Most Chens will start with the Mind Stealer. Mana Burn is super oppressive in lane. Of course, this ability did get nerfed. It used to be way stronger on level 1 on the creep, but now it is down to the intelligence of the target. Of course, Axe, not a very smart guy.
They should make it that if you dominate a creep, that the longer you keep the keep around, that it also gets like some experience, so it levels up as well.
Yeah, that sounds very annoying against Mind Stealer. And yeah, that's what Dota's all about. It's about annoying your opponent, so why not?
If your opponent is enjoying the game, you're doing something wrong.
That's right.
Much a quieter early game than we saw earlier. No real skirmishes happening. Everybody showed up with full HP in lane. Yuma so far, the CS leader, been utilizing this Boundless Strike to good effect. Getting through these Eidolons. KJ obviously helping out a lot in denying these Eidolons, putting in damage on Yuma.
No, it's funny. It's funny watching Lifestealer trying to fight Axe. It's like a little...
Bottom tower is under
somebody slapping a bug on their wrist, you know? They're like trying to get it off of them. It's a little Lifestealer just gnawing away at his hand. That's all it is. Axe just way stronger.
Blade Mail gonna be potentially built by him, but right now he just has Chainmail, triple ring of protection. So he's chilling. Mid lane though, Analog is still very even with PP.
Yeah,
Both of them are gonna get the same levels. Even the deniers are very, very close.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Where do you envision the first blood actually happening here in this early game?
Probably top, I think. It's most likely that either the Clockwork finds a good catch with the Eidolon dealing damage, or that the Monkey King plus Phoenix somehow overpower the Enigma. It very much comes down to when Fire Spirits are ready. When the Fire Spirits are ready, the Radiant can't make any plays. But when they're on cooldown, you're quite vulnerable up here, actually. Still, this has gone great for the side of Heroic so far in the top lane. Yuma completely free farming. And remember, this Enigma was picked against the Monkey. 32 and 7 into the 17 and 8.
Of course, we don't know how many of those CS are Eidolons as well. And
That's true.
If we look at his net worth, it is ahead of the Lifestealer, so he's definitely ahead, but it's not like a gargantuan leap in terms of that full net worth.
That's a fair point. There's probably like maybe 5 of them are Eidolons.
Five minutes into the game, still 0 kills. After enduring the bloodbath of game 1, feeling a bit antsy. I'm like, come on guys, time to get the action happening.
Well, Michael is going the action build on clock at the very least 2-1 on the...
Oh, they're trying to dive Parker behind the tower with the creep wave over him. Bramble may as well be there. Parker is still alive for now, but with the call coming back, Whisper ensures that they find the kill. They even made the rotation with Michael. The battery assault should be able to secure the kill on Schofield. But nonetheless, good catch for the side of Heroic. Less resources and a much bigger kill.
Maybe Heroic have cracked the code. You just gotta ban 6 Parker heroes and he has to play Lifestealer. I mean, they used to play with the guy, so they should know his hero pool. It is very deep, but there's only so many heroes that are good in Dota right now, and I feel like in terms of the carry pool, it's very
hold on.
warped.
We'll talk about it in a second, because mid lane, they're taking a rotation onto this Queen of Pain. They almost killed her with the Dream Coil. PP is actually chasing off the Analog, while top, they're going for Vitali. This Enigma should end up dead. Didn't have the support necessary to save him. Poppy does get off a spell onto Analog, but unfortunately the Penitents need somebody to be there to lay in the damage, and nobody's around. Analog will be A-okay. Schofield escapes away from Michael. So we do see Edge committing a lot of resources, getting nothing, and losing out on the Enigma in the top lane.
These 2 side lanes are going really well for Heroic. They're so far ahead on net worth right now. Monkey King is also not even necessarily that... Oh, hang on. These might get more here.
Nice one.
Oh, he'll just get out, I guess. Michael, can he connect? It's pretty fast.
Yuma?
No.
Okay.
So... The thing is, I don't think the Lifestealer against Monkey King matchup is even that good to begin with. So if Monkey King is ahead by 700 minute 7, and this trajectory continues, then I have very little faith in the Lifestealer being able to offer a lot until, like you said, the hero oftentimes falls into this trap of, I just need one more item. And if that's the type of game you're going to be playing on Lifestealer in this game, look what heroes the enemy team has to run the map with. Axe, Puck, and Monkey King as the 3 cores. Heroic shall be all over the place, just running down these greedy heroes of like Lifestealer and Enigma as they're trying to farm. Even Chen, you can see Parker,
As you say
even no
that.
quarter.
Here they come, but Yuma already committed the Primal Spring, unfortunately, so it didn't have it available. Parker is able to escape, but unfortunately for the side of Edge, towers do not move. So they should be able to claim this from Heroic. You know, on your Lifestealer versus Monkey King point, I think it used to be better when Lifestealer built like Omelette, Basher, AC, you know, these kind of items. I think it is much worse with the Radiance build up. You don't threaten the Lifestealer, the monkey. Yeah. Whisper does manage to get himself inside some cogs here. He needs help. He's not going to get it. Parker gets the kill onto him. KJ skirting himself away in the meantime as he gets the kill onto at least Michael. Schofield does something on the back edge. He's a little bit isolated, but fortunately for him, Radiant team doesn't seem that intent on diving upon him. So he's going to be able to escape. The big prize was the offlaner though. Whisper is gone.
Well, the other big prize is the other offlaner. Vitaly is a full level up on the Monkey King now because of how much time Yuma spent crossing the map. The Enigma has taken top net worth in his own team now with Drums level 6. It's a great hero to play around when that first Black Hole plus Drums comes out. So expect to see
Great onto Whisper. Look at the damage onto Parker, but fortunately for them, PP shows up. Sonic Wave thrown in. Whisper is gone again. He just respawned Sind and he's already being sent back to the fountain.
Yeah, PP really rising to the occasion.
Not bad. That's a good one. Mid lane. Michael was hoping to catch Analog.
Your reaction's always funny. It like takes a few seconds because you're like, ah.
The problem is it's your demeanor, like your pattern of speech doesn't make it apparent that you're memeing directly. You know when you hear like Lacoste or something, you're just like, oh, this guy's memeing.
That's what I'm
directly.
all about.
But you're so deadpan.
You gotta figure out whether I thought about it or whether it was chance. I'm not very smart though. I don't read. So
you don't read, you can't see, you can't listen unless it involves Dota. So, if it is indeed the case that this Enigma is getting this far ahead, should Heroic be starting to commit additional resources to contain him? Or is it more important to just maintain their farm patterns until they get to the Blink Dagger on the Axe and the full Desolator available on this monkey?
First of all, I'm not really sure I love the first item Deso. Oh, hang on. Michael and PP finding trouble.
It's going to be the first Wukongs of the game thrown in by Yuma. It's going to be the Queen of Pain and the Clockwork. Both of them are in danger here. Clock is going to be the first one to die. PP, Blink Dag just came back off cooldown. Can he get out? Bounder Strike not available. Dream Coil already used. So he is gone, but did not expect the fight to break out in that fashion. Edge very much surprised by the appearance of Yuma.
The Dream Rune. Finding a shield there was very important. Otherwise he would have been crushed in the river. And instead it turns into a one-for-one trade. Honestly, this development in the last few minutes is incredibly positive for for Edge. It was starting to look like Heroic were running away with both side lanes, and the core matchups in terms of net worth were starting to get quite warped. Now it's closing in. No, it's a dead even game on gold. The main advantage for the side of Edge is, of course, Puppey is out farming the enemy supports. Chen will generally do that. But the very good news for Edge is that Parker gets to play now. He gets to progress. And for Heroic, it's going to take some time before you get certain key items. Like the Puck Blink, he needs to get his Witchblade first. Axe is going Blade Mill first. So in terms of playmaking, for a while, Parker might be quite safe to get toward his ratings. We already established Enigma is farming a lot. This hero is a monster in late game.
Gonna be on Heroic then to try and increase the tempo. As you said, Analog still wants to get towards his Witchblade, so he's chilling. Maybe one of the things that's making them a bit more reticent is they're like, well, if we mess up a play like this, they can just push so quickly on the side of Edge. Like, it takes a lot more resources for Heroic to get towers, as evidenced by that fight they tried to take bottom, which didn't even net them a tower. But if you lose an engagement to Enigma Gen, you are going to be losing buildings, so I can understand a bit of trepidation on their part.
Another power rune, but this time it will be Analog. Getting himself an Arcane, immediately activating it just to push out the wave here.
They might come up the hill and maybe steal some stacks if they can find any. And there is a triple stack on the hard camp here. Enigma sees
not
it.
having it, but he doesn't have a choice.
They do hook shot at least onto Schofield though, so they're gonna try and secure him. With the Sonic Wave, that might happen. No way. Shadow Realm TP out. There's no way he makes it, and he does.
Wait, how did he live?
What a player. Draws 2 ultimates and gets out scot-free.
I guess 20 sticks plus Fairy Fire, or excuse me, plus the raindrops were enough there. I thought the Sonic Wave was going to kill him on the spot. That must have been a really, really big wand.
We get back into the game now. One of the things that will create some problems is now that Sonic Wave is down. That's a huge outlet of damage not available for Edge. I don't think they really wanted to go fight anyway until they had the Blade Mail, but you almost have the Blade Mail on Quap. You know, normally you get the Blade Mail, you have Puppey nearby you, you'd smoke immediately, go find a kill. But that maneuver is going to be delayed for a while now, and now bottom there's a fight that's happening. Yuma, they get a full Wukongs with the Axe Core, they bring down Parker almost immediately. That was very, very fast. Edge did not see that coming, and I think Heroic exploited the fact that they know that Queen of Pain can do nothing about it right now.
At that time around, the Yuma rotation just works. That's the big difference. He gets the connection onto the Lifestealer, and then X gets the call, and the moment that happens, it's just over. Even with Hand of God, he still died because X has Blade Mail. The amount of damage he took there was unhealable. But now, I guess Edge will try to go back the other way. Now they can go up top, play with their Enigma. I feel like it's a little bit surprising that this tower has not received any more pressure than it has, given how good Vitaly's early game ended up being. Oh, a nice Midnight Pulse.
They actually destroyed the trees with the Midnight Pulse. First black hole of the game committed in onto Yuma. The Monkey King is gonna die for this one. Beautifully done by the Enigma. So Vitaly makes it happen. The Puck will try to do some damage with the Illusory Orb, but it's not gonna be enough by any stretch of the imagination. Analog is actually trying to just destroy the creep wave on back. Michael coming in towards him. They're gonna try and bait the fight. There's the hook shot. They catch him. Analog inside the Cogs right now, and he has no way out. Manifestan on top of him. PP has the blink if needed, not even required. He dies to the final Manifest tick.
Yeah, bleeding out a little bit here now. Heroic, 2 different cores dying. They lose the top tower. In the meantime, Parker is farming. So in similar fashion to game number 1, just back and forth action, nobody really getting a big advantage. In game 1, it was eventually Heroic that finally got ahead by a big amount when we got to the later portion of the mid game, but then that lead didn't transform into a game win. So if that's anything to go by, if the fact that Heroic had a 12k lead last game and couldn't convert it, and now in this game you're dead even, it just turns out Edge is the better late game team, and this is a great position to find themselves in at 15 minutes in. Parker will probably get himself what looks to be a 17-minute Radiance on Lifestealer, which isn't great, but also not awful. Supernova Force, they'll back out. Nimble run away with a Cobalt Cup, but
the question is, do they get out? Whisper, Blink Dagger comes through, catches Vitaly. They burst through onto the Enigma. Bedlam now with the Dream Coil onto the clock in the chin. Yuma even drops the Wukong's command. They bring down Puppey. Michael forced to run away from this. PP keeps himself alive with the Sonic Wave pushing back onto Whisper, but Whisper will just content himself with a free kill onto the Clockwork. The Dark secures a double, and that's 3 kills picked up for Heroic, and it cost them nothing really. Yep. Ultimates that they were prepared to use anyway for that fight.
There you go, back the other way. Now the question is, how will Edge win the next fight? Because we know it's going to happen.
That is a good question. So
Parker's
they will not
Radiance
have Black Hole for a minute. PP doesn't have Sonic Wave. And they still don't have the Radiance for Parker. That's one of the big problems, right? This Radiance has just been delayed so long on the Lifestealer.
It's coming.
I don't think you want to fight right now.
16 minutes, 30 seconds. It's not good, but it's not terrible, right? This isn't like some, okay, I got completely shut down 20-minute affair. It's all right. I mean, you can still play around this now. You obviously have the Infest. Queen of Pain is deceptively tanky in this game when she gets infested. She's playing with Bondage and Blade Mail, so if you infest her, there's a ton of tankiness, and the Spell Lifesteal coming back the other way could make some interesting moments. Mid tower's going to go down here. Edge. Oh. Once again, utilize their Eidolons to great effect.
Analog wants no part of that defense. He's finishing off his Blink Dagger on the puck. Whisper all the way on the other side, trying to farm for BKB. So mid tower at this stage of the game, it's like whatever, not that big of a deal. You can allow it to happen. And like you said, Parker now does have his Radiance scaling into the SNY. We'll see what route he picks up afterwards, because I mean, a lot of variation in the Lifestealer builds. Some of them go AC after this, some of them go straight Basher, some of them go for the Aghanim's heads up, some of them go for the Nullifier.
Well,
really depends on what Parker is feeling.
Queuing up SNY Axe for now. The Aghanims makes a lot of sense against Monkey King ult, but it also does... It gives you more survivability and more play potential, but your damage is a lot more negligible than if you were to buy, like you said, AC. So it comes at a cost. Smoke up now from Heroic. When they get an opening, they'll get the coil out.
It's on to PP. Whisper wants the job. There's gonna be a hurricane coming in from the Wild Ring Ripper. Did something disable the Blink Dagger from Whisper?
That's what I was thinking, but I don't think so. I think he was just not in range. Mission failed.
That's unfortunate. And they still ran bottom, ran around, but nobody's in the vicinity. Well, they keep the tower alive middle. So for the side of Edge, wasting more time away from Heroic. Also, quick point, you were mentioning earlier that you weren't really that fond of this Desolator first item from Yuma. What's your problem with it overall?
I thought he was getting it before Echo Saber. I think like this, it's fine. When I was looking at his quick buy, I saw him building the Deso, but I didn't notice that the Echo was an intermediary item, and it's okay. I thought if he was going Treads Deso, that was a little bit wild, because you need the mana regen of the Echo Saber, and you need to have the... Like, it has some good transitional properties. Michael, getting caught, getting killed. Easy pick for Yuma here.
Right before the spawn of the Tormentor in a minute, so Heroic will be able to control this area, make sure that they have access into the Tormy once it spawns.
Not the best lineup for killing it, but it's okay.
That's what the Deso's for, baby.
Yeah, that's true. It is definitely going to help them with objectives. That's something their lineup isn't particularly great at, which could have perhaps factored into the decision. I think more than likely, he's just thinking, how do I kill Lifestealer? And you want single target physical damage. There's a lot less value to a build such as Maelstrom. You could have considered Battle Fury, I think, in this game on Monkey King. I don't think that would have been too crazy, but...
I'm gonna come top now from Edge to contest for this Tormy, and it looks like the area is actually been vacated by Heroic. Beautiful Hulk by Michael. Mid Icarus dive, KJ gets bursted down.
Nice.
Right as the Tormentor spawns. Perfect timing. Hey, he got the kill, didn't he?
Yeah, he infest stole the kill. Very nice. And that's a Torm for Secret. So in spite of them killing up top earlier with the Monkey King,
Schofield, Terrorize does actually connect, but he's gonna probably die for this one. Well, it was a nice, cute little play from the man here, but with Battery Assault going with Power Cogs, there is no way out for Schofield. Nice highlight reel, but even worse death.
Yeah, he was hoping to terrorize the heroes while they're killing the Tormentor to allow the Tormentor to regen and deal some extra damage and then maybe stall it out. But instead, you just compromise your position, get caught and killed. And that's pretty much the entire lead that Heroic just got down the drain. The Tormentor, of course, worth a lot here. But now Vitaly being spotted by Whisper.
Doesn't have a BKB. There's the Axe Call. They even commit the Wukongs for this. They want no possibility of him surviving here. He just goes down in a hurry.
Isn't it fascinating to watch these two teams play and feel like it's never the same team winning 2 fights in a row? It's like they're just taking turns at making successful moves and getting caught out. In the previous game, it felt, okay, that's not fully true. I think Heroic won 2 fights in a row, and that's what gave them their lead, but then they lost the subsequent one. And then it was kind of a little bit of a wish-wash of draws for a bit. Eventually, Edge won a couple of big ones back-to-back, and then they closed out the game. But in this series so far, no lead has really felt meaningful until you get very late in the game. So... not really going to put too much stock into any sub 5 or 10k gold lead, to be honest. Seems like the teams are very well aware of each other.
All the South American fans in chat are just like, guys, this is how it always is. Yeah. What are you talking about? This is just how the region rolls. You're expecting clean games. Go watch East Western Europe. Mid lane, they're jumping in onto the Aghanim shot revealed from the Queen of Pain with the silence, the Sonic Wave. They get the kill. PP out here, man. If the PP is missing, you gotta be scared. It's gonna come out much bigger than expected.
Yeah, especially when it's infested by Lifestealer. We didn't even have to jump out.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
I'm gonna jump out now.
Okay,
but
Whisper.
Unfortunately, Whisper already on the high ground.
Oh,
he has BKB, he has Blade Mail. That was
a missed call
bit
on
optimistic.
Lifestealer hitting him. That's Not great, but he didn't have to use his BKB at the very least. Well, now we're back down. Now Edge are making moves. They're trying to take the mid tower here with the Eidolons plus Lifestealer. Looks like they will be successful. There's a little bit of an... it's always worth keeping a small eye on what creeps Chen has. So in this case, Puppey running around with the Ogre Frost Mage is quite valuable here for the Lifestealer versus Monkey King matchup. This does affect it in a pretty big way. Having that extra armor plus the attack speed slow is it's pretty nifty. But of course, now that Edge pulled that off, they're going to get ganked.
That's what they're trying to do from Heroic. They're looking for the big wraparound here. On the high ground is Vitali. Yuma's trying to find some vision of these heroes. Nobody is availing themselves just yet. Vitali's still sitting in the Roshan pit. He'll break the smoke onto the axe. I'm not sure if they saw him though. They don't have any vision outside. But now they infest themselves. Here comes Edge looking for the side of Heroic. Yet again, they find the silence onto the puck. Analog, is he going to die for this one? Did get to, Jones gets away the blink of an eye. The Dream Quail will come in right now. There's going to be the core. Yuma with the big Wukong's come on, but the black hole equally as big. Axel Monty came caught inside with the Sonic Wave over all of them. Unfortunately, that bonus armor kept Yuma alive and fighting, allowing Axe to dunk onto absolutely everybody. Yuma ends up with a triple kill after KJ's Supernova explodes. Michael not going to be allowed to escape either. Yuma with the Boundless Strike. They get the kill. They get the big team wipe. Heroic, you countered it. You knew it was coming here, Cinderin. It is their time to fight and their time to succeed.
Yeah. Now, Edge obviously going to learn something from this fight and swing back soon, but Heroic will be celebrating that team fight win for a little bit. A lot of really good placement of spells there. It was a great Supernova. It was a solid Black Hole as well, but Monkey King, that's why this hero can be so dangerous in games like this when your carry is a Lifestealer. You can kind of get baited into thinking you can beat him, but if he gets off the Jingu stacks during that fight, you're just screwed. Like, you don't have enough damage to get through him. You threw out all of the burst. It's just not enough. And that, I actually think out of every fight in this game, that moment is the one where I felt like having a bad and over Lifestealer would have been the biggest difference, right? Like, that would have been massive, because he would have had so much more tankiness because of his ult and his sustain. Perhaps he could have won that fight for the side of Edge. The nature of how it breaks out will be different, though. Like, that was an Infest initiation, but didn't really feel like the Infest did very much, so... It's good fight for Heroic. And this is now a 50-50 win expectancy game. Would you believe it?
7k net worth, 5 additional kills. Gaimin is still like, nah, gang, I've seen enough. I know this is even. Although this might increase the odds as they get a hook shot forward. Lifestealer was silenced up, but he might be able to get off the Infest. Whisper's trying to do his utmost, but there's the Infest, there's the pop-out. Parker now putting his attention back towards Whisper. KJ helping out with the Sunray. However, the Sonic Wave from PP secures the kill. Parker, he's running around, he does have Battle Hunger on top of him. He needs someone to help. Yuma, Wukong's command on the high ground. They find both PP and Michael. Burst them away with the Wukong Supernova combination. And in the meantime, everybody has to flee from the side of Edge. Heroic get themselves a 2-for-1 exchange, making themselves feel a lot better in the process.
Yeah, Edge were not expecting all of Heroic to show up there, but that Wukong's command immediately just wins that fight. And they blinked in with the Queen of Pain for the follow-up.
Schofield goes on to Parker, forces out the rage. Fortunately, Axe is dead, so he feels very safe making that escape on Parker.
An 8k lead. And this is one of those games where this will eventually likely come down to, can Enigma find a good black hole and can you kill in it? That's still the big question mark here. Parker will now receive, I believe, an Aghanim Scepter in a moment. I think he has it completed. All the components are flying out. Nope, not even. He still needs the Ogre Axe. He's quite a bit away from where you really want to be here as Lifestealer with the given hero matchups that he has. And I'm still waiting on that big damage item to come out for Lifestealer so that you can, with confidence, say, okay, if you find a black hole or if you find, you know, some sort of strong setup with the Clockwork plus Queen of Pain Silence, that you can reliably burst the heroes that you're meant to kill. So far, it's been rather uneventful for Lifestealer.
Definitely would have preferred if he'd gone for Armlet Deso into Basher AC. All this could still be vindicated down the stretch if this works out for him, but we'll need a lot more time to get there, and it's not going to help if he's dead. Almost got dove by Whisper.
Close.
Thankfully, he gets back.
Fortunate timing here for Parker to finish the camp there, and then... the thing about Armlet Deso is one of the upsides to Radiance here is getting the blind and the evasion against Monkey King has a lot of inherent value in that hero-to-hero matchup. So while Armlet Deso is heavier single target damage, it also is... You pigeonhole yourself a lot more into the type of fights you can take and how your hero interacts. So I personally think the Radiance is the better choice, but I don't know if I like the Ags second over something like AC. Like you talked about, other players will go for that. I understand the Ags logic against Monkey King being nice, but I just don't know if you kill him. That's the problem. With AC, you get a lot of staying power against the Wukong's command. And you hit a lot harder. See if this pays off. I'm trying to keep my eye on this Ags usage. Gets any bang for his buck.
Here's a new item from Heroic as well. They have a Parasma available on this puck. We're going to see if they can catch anybody out here. Lifestealer and Clockwork are showing.
Crap, Yuma's big.
That is fun, bro.
He just had BKB a moment ago, and now...
Parker, no! This is the worst possible time. Boundless Strike literally one-shots Michael. Parker trying to get himself away. Didn't get called in by Whisper. Whisper gets infested with the Aghanim Scepter. The team is coming in. Vitali can't even approach the Wukongs. Look at the damage output from Yuma. Now Parker's just gone. Easy kill onto the Lifestealer. Aghanims did not help. Now with the Blink Silence going out, Yuma gets thrown back with the Sonic Wave, but it's not enough damage. There's going to be instead a Bramble Maze catching PP. There's the call from Whisper. Queen of Pain is going to end up dead as well. Heroic just catching them and killing them so quickly. The damage output has become a little bit too much to deal with.
You could tell the panic there from Parker. He didn't have anywhere to invest, so he ends up turning around and investing the axe. And pinging his teammates to come help me take this fight. They could not take that fight. There's absolutely no way they found an initiation on that, so... Alright. Good news for Heroic. They're now up by more gold than they lost last game. As they crack the 13k mark. Can they close this one out, or will Edge find another late game comeback? They have Enigma. It's never out of the question. He is queuing up a 30-minute Hand of Midas. That has me less inspired, I must say. But you never know.
This game is a little bit tougher though, because Yuma is starting to completely take over. I mean, yes, you have this Aghanim Scepter on the Lifestealer. Part of the problem with the Lifestealer, you know, you're talking about like the other build can pigeonhole you. Let's say you don't infest the monkey, right? Do you really feel like you will have invested well into your gold here?
No.
With the Aghanim Scepter?
I think if you don't infest monkey, this isn't worth it. I really feel like it is that black and white, and that's the problem that I have with it, is that can you reliably get that done? And in every other situation, does it feel valuable? It's obviously, it's a big heal. It's kind of like a pseudo-satanic. When you infest, you heal so much during it. But I just don't think it really matters to Heroic if Lifestealer heals. Because they still can just kill him in one call combo, or Monkey King still is so far ahead that he's going to destroy him if he gets to hit at all. Because that's the thing, right? You compare the hero's net worth. Monkey King, 20k, Lifestealer, 16.5. It doesn't sound like that much. It sounds like, you know, Monkey King is like it's like 2/3 of an item ahead. But then you factor in... Oh, okay, hang on.
There's a Sonic Wave. KJ able to get off the ultimate though with the Supernova, so he's still alive. But can they pursue for more? Whisper misses the call onto this Clockwork, so he is able to escape. Yuma though does see him, could go on top of him. The monkey wants the clock. One Boundless Strike should be more than enough damage, and indeed it is. But Vitali, he gets the black hole and connects onto the Schofield Dogwiller as well as Yuma. But where's the follow-up damage? Finally Parker is there. They're able to take away the Aegis. Vitali now losing his life. Doesn't have himself another Aegis, so he just dies. Does have buyback if needed. Michael did buy back, however, so he cannot afford to die again. Boundless Strike though misses from Yuma, but it will not matter. Whisper chases him and finds the Culling Blade. Double kill for the axe. Despite getting a decent black hole, despite getting a kill on the monkey, it took so long for the follow-up damage to come that Heroic can just reset and still win the follow-up fight.
The biggest counter to Nigma and DOTA is not a pick, it's Aegis if you're mortal. And they had it. So, it's a good-looking black hole, just doesn't matter, because what are you going to do in the second life? They don't have the tools to kill off Yuma. Now, the silver lining here for Edge is that Lifestealer did not die this time. So he is progressing toward that AC or BKB. If he goes BKB, dude, like what damage does this build even have? You're putting like 8,000 gold into survivability. 8k gold. Ags BKB. The Monkey King.
The crazy part.
It's all value.
The crazy part about going this build when he has Ags BKB, does this even keep him alive in these fights against this heroic lineup? You know, they have.
I think the BKB is pretty good actually, but I would have rather had that instead of the. I think for me the perfect build here was Radiant Sanjin Yasha into either BKB or AC, and then the other one. I think the Ags is going to be bait. But let's see. I am not much of a lifesteal player, as a small disclaimer. So maybe I'm just spouting complete nonsense here, and that makes no. It makes no sense to not get these items here. I'm just looking at the fights, you know. This isn't even. This is just what's unfolding in front of us. So I'll see you later.
I am a lifestealer player. That's why I'm 100% confident that BKB is not going to help. Like, he's going to get BKB and still get called and still die to right clicks of
If you're
humor.
confident that Parker's item
100,
build is not going to help, then we're in trouble for the side of Edge.
Well, okay, to be fair, Parker's much better than me, so I'm 99% sure. I must allow for wisdom from the gods of Parker.
Got it. Well, it's... The pros are absolutely not infallible when it comes to item innovation. I actually think it's one of the things when it comes to pro play that I have the most criticism about is items. I think in terms of like spell casting, map movements, drafting, more often than not, I guess sometimes I dislike certain elements of drafting, but I have games where I feel like it's just facepalm itemization from my perspective. This isn't on that level. I'm not like, what the hell is this? But I don't like it.
I do like this Aghanim Scepter on the puck. Analog, Parasma, Ags, Shard, Gunpowder Gauntlet. That's a hard-hitting puck right now.
Okay,
It's actually, this puck is going to outstrip the Lifestealer in damage by quite some margin by the time they end game. There you go.
Parker changed his mind. He wants to keep Ogre X Mithril Hammer and then buy Nullifier.
You know what happened? Somebody clicked on his build and they were like, dude, what's happening? And he's like, okay, my bad.
Well,
it's like, we need
damage.
damage,
A Nullifier. He's playing against a Wind Waker and a Euls. So it's hard for him to stick on targets. Even during Black Hole, they're not guaranteed to be able to kill the guy they want. So I think this Nullifier is actually a very, very good purchase in this game. It just sucks that you have to not finish your BKB to get it. But I think it's the right recognition here from Edge that if they are to win this game, it's the Enigma that needs to carry. And the way Enigma can carry is by having the Nullifier to make sure heroes get thrown out of Euls during Black Hole or out of the Wind Waker immediately. So you can kill the guy that you're trying to get. And then perhaps build a fight around that. There it is. Sold his Radiance. Or rather, sold the Evasion Talisman.
So no Radiance available right now. I don't want to say it, but I'm still very convinced the Radiance was a mistake in this game. But anyway, we're going forward for the next fight. They smoke up. They have Enigma with the Blink Dagger, level 2 Black Hole ready to go. But crucially, they also have a BKB on the Queen of Pain. Full 9 seconds available for PP. Not going to get chain disabled by the Puck and the Dark Willow anymore. Can actually have presence in the fights. But they're not going to find anything. One of the problems that always happens in games like this, where you're falling further and further behind, you just don't get an opportunity to put vision out on the map. So when you make these smokes, you just feel like you're walking blind, and it's very easy for the enemy team to respond to it. It feels very telegraphed from them.
Yeah. This should just be a free tournament as well. Heroic with, as you said, a lot of info just from wave push. And they will now, this feels real good for Monkey King. He just got a free shard on MK. So now has the connection point on the Boundless Strike. A lot of Monkey Kings buy this early in the game.
Yep.
Yuma getting it at no cost. Great news for him.
Not good news for the supports. We already saw that one Boundless Strike is more than enough to kill them 100-0. So, not great. He's going straight into the refresher afterwards on the Monkey King. That's very intriguing. Parker finally has the BKB, right? Nope, still 10 gold shots.
Dire's bottom tower.
But we'll have it before the next fight.
Dire's
Right, it's
bottom
going to
tower
infest Vitaly.
is
It's go time. Right before the BKB, right? I mean, they need to wait for the BKB to get here, surely. No? Okay, we're in.
They go on, they find Whisper. They could be able to get this kill. He does have BKB. The Wind Waker takes him away from the black hole before it's even cast. There's a supernova down as well. They've already bursted the Queen of Pain. Lifestealer can't escape neither. He gets taken away by Whisper. Well, the BKB arrived just as he died, so the express delivery was a little bit late. We do see Yules now onto Michael in the river. He's getting himself burnt away. At the same time, Vitaly got caught in the mid lane. Heroic demolishing Edge right now in that fight. And that's a fight that Edge chose to take. Definitely not the right decision in the end of the day.
Yeah, they were trying to black hole and then nullify the Axe, but I don't know if Axe already had BKB running when he got the Wind Waker off, or if he...
Radiant's top tower.
I think he might have been nullified during it, but... Or rather, as he was flying out, he got nullified, but then he was out of the black hole, and that execution just doesn't cut it. This is probably just going to cost them the entire game here. Yuma does push very fast. He's got the 30 stacks on his Desolator, hitting for about 450.
The thing is, he's also not the only damage dealer, right? We saw Analog starting to put out some hurt as well. So this is very problematic for Edge. They might be two sides down by the time they respawn here. But maybe Heroic will show some respect and retreat, given that they don't have an Aegis.
Yeah, they could go and get the Roshan now as well. There's also a damage rune there.
Radiant's top barracks are under attack.
He just got another Wind Waker on the Dark Willow. So good luck finding a black hole, Mr. Vitaly.
Radiant's bottom tower is under
Roshan being taken. He roars. They know what's happening. But what can they do about this? They still don't have the black hole available. So going into the Roshan pit right now does feel like suicide. But at the same time, giving up an Aegis with the Roshan's banner, not really a palatable situation either. There it is. Roche for Yuma. Banner picked up. And the push is gonna come. So, Mr. Cinderman, how do you defend this push on the high ground if you are on the side of Edge?
You wait for black hole. Because without it, you don't have enough damage. So, okay. Yeah, that doesn't.
You don't have lives as Puppy either. Chen is about to die inside the Wukong. Parker's inside him. This is problematic. Whisper gets the call back onto Lifestealer. Lifestealer dies. Chen brought back, hoping to try and save him. Even dropped the Hand of God, but it wasn't enough. The stun from KJ ensures that nobody within the base of Edge can chase them outside of it. Oh, that is the worst case scenario possible. A minute without the Lifestealer? Yeah, you have the black hole coming back in 2 seconds, but you already committed Sonic Wave as well, so where's going to be the damage for it?
And this is Megas if Heroic just go for it. I think this is a mathematically impossible fight for the Radiant until Lifesteal is up, but Heroic don't necessarily know for a fact that Parker doesn't have buyback. But they're obviously going to try to find out by pushing this. Parker, by the way, realizing he doesn't have enough defensive items, so he's queuing up a Ghost Scepter on Lifestealer. Yeah, that's the state of this game. Not been a fun experience for him.
Nope.
Here it comes. Third lane, Glyph. Trying to buy the time, but of course Yuma still has Aegis and Satanic. So like, how on earth are we gonna kill this guy twice? Okay, he's gonna go in on Puppy.
Bit onto Puppy. Outward Stalk will stay Puppy for a moment, but he's still getting jumped upon. There's a 2-year Dream Quill onto both of these supports. They both utilize their Ghost Scepters, so now that they're down, there is some issues. However, Yuma has expended all of his mana here. They still do kill the Clockwork. There's the Infest out. PP and the gang, they go on top of the Monkey King and they kill him, but that's only life number 1. Parker can't even close onto the Dark Willow. She's inside the Shadow Realm as the Queen of Pain gets dragged back in with the Harpoon of Yuma. Killed off, no buyback for PP. Vitaly sent back into the base by a Terrorizer. Here's Yuma dropping the Wukongs inside your fountain. You can't even play in your own fountain. This game is beyond over. GG, well played is called. We are going to a game 3. The South American Derby continues to fight. He will be overpowered, but does require the rest of the team to play with a lot of cohesion in the early mid game.
Let's see, immediate smoke here from Heroic, trying to get a foothold. But they're not going up on the high ground, so actually just using it to ward and nothing else. There's some information. Looks like Whisper is fishing to find the mid ward. He is going to.
They actually smoke, but there's an observer ward, so they see the smoke perfectly from Edge. Schofield will hang out in the area just to break the smoke on the Phoenix and the Marcy. He succeeds in doing so. So they should be A-okay. All right, Tundra, before anything kicks off, nail your flag to the mast. Who is going to represent South America tomorrow?
I believe in Edge this game, but not by a lot. For me, there's slight favorites.
Only small PP favorites.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. I'm a tiny hater, but I'm a Terrorblade enjoyer, so I'm gonna back my Terrorblade boy here. I'm gonna back Yuma. Let's see what he's got.
All right. I mean, no outcome here surprises me. Let me make that clear. I think both teams have shown in the series to be overall pretty close in terms of skill. I'll say Heroic has maybe played, like I was saying, slightly better, but I think the conditions this game for Edge are also slightly better than they were in Game 2. Or maybe even a lot better, because Parker isn't stuck on a lifestealer. So that might just be enough to push them over the edge. No pun intended.
Oh, main phase kicks off now. Heroic need this Tiny to do decently in this mid lane matchup, and Tinys generally tend to do so nowadays, so not anticipating Analog to have too many struggles here against PP.
At the same time, it's not a lane that Ember gets crushed in, right?
Yeah.
The most important thing for Ember is that you get out of the laning stage okay, and then you get your money's worth in terms of rotations and skirmishes. Tiny can probably win this lane like 60-40 at best. And I think even that would be really good. Just run the Flame Guard and do that.
Parker's in some trouble. They actually drop a blood grenade on top of him, but Poppy puts one down as well. It's Schofield that's getting chased away. One more right click is all they'll need. And the damage from the Fire Spirit secures the kill. Unfortunately, there is an Ion Shell chasing Parker, and they are going to get him down. In the meantime, there was also action that happened on the bottom side of the map, so a 2-2 trade all across, but the first blood does get drawn by the side of Edge.
That's a nice little bonus for Puppy as he got flying out. Wand and a sentry. He's going to get dove as a reward. This is not possible for Heroic to pull through on fully.
This game is so tough. Down middle. Of course, things are going to be relatively even as we expect. What happened bottom, by the way? Did you happen to catch how those kills ended up taking place?
I didn't catch it, but I would assume what happened was either the Shaman or the Marcy went in first on the respective other support, and then the counter plays came in from both. And you can see there, they can just toss out Vitaly whenever he gets shackled, just bring him out with Pick Me Up. So far looking very healthy in terms of just CS here on the side of Edge. All three lanes going very well. In particular, Terrorblade seems to be suffering.
Not having the time of his life, indeed. And of course, the Centaur is about to get some of his regen items not too long from now. Does have a bracer flying in. So 2 braces. One is not that far away from being complete, and then you get the Vanguard. Yep. The window to kill him is pretty much past at this point. Should be able to farm freely for a while.
And again, PP just inching out an advantage against Analog in that mid lane. Ember versus Tiny, 15-7 against 10-4. Should definitely not be this Ember favorite on paper, but today PP in the mid lane in terms of mechanics just feel like he's been outplaying Analog. He beat him in, or he drew in game 1 with Ember against DK, and then in game 2 he drew with Crop versus Puck, which I think is the more understandable one. And now here he might just be winning with Ember against Tiny, which would be a great start to the game for Edge.
He might get a solo kill, boss. Look middle. DP's going in after Analog. Okay.
That would have
Sends
been
him back. It's chilling.
crazy if he got that. But it's still good pressure. nevertheless. Like, he's getting analog down to below half, and with water runes coming up, if any supports could make rotations now, that would actually be huge. If analog did not get a water rune now, PP can completely win the lane, but he'll toss him away.
Schofield was considering making a move down bottom, but as soon as he gets told no points, Tiny gets his own one. Puppy will get himself back top after securing the other one for the Tiny. Down bottom, they're going onto the Shadow Shaman. They are going to be able to get that kill. Okay. Centaur Marcy putting out the pressure. And you were mentioning this earlier on. If you get rebounded into with the amount of magic damage Vitaly has, they definitely will kill you.
This lane is pretty strong.
Dire's top tower is
I saw a lane recently played in a different tournament where they played Marcy Axe, and I was super impressed with how that lane executed. This is a similar logic.
Who's gonna win this fight though? Puppy versus Schofield? Well, as what'll normally happen in real life, if you fight Puppy 1v1, you're probably gonna lose.
Okay, have you tried it, or?
No. Why would I do that? I'm gonna lose if I do it.
Well, how do you know?
You know, you can just tell, dog. Some people are really big.
How do you know?
It's like,
That's a good answer.
he looks like the type of guy. Besides, haven't you seen the fear in Crystallis' eyes when he's talking about Puppy? And Crystallis is a big guy as well, so Puppy must be on one. Down bottom, Vitaly is out here. He's gonna get killed off by Yuma and the gang, surrounded with the cogs of Schofield. Nicely done.
Yeah, after that death top, Schofield can of course just choose to make a rotation somewhere else. He'll make that choice at the bottom.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Parker
Oh,
gonna run in a little bit with this Iron Shell. KJ came through with Schofield through the Twin Gate, so they're trying to surround this Templar Assassin, but the word has gone out that, hey, something's happening, even pings the exact area where they're waiting for him.
and now this
The
opens
TP
up
in
for a
with the Marcy
potential
to protect.
counterplay.
Yep, here they come.
Uh-oh.
Michael's here with Puppy. They're looking towards Whisper. They missed the initial rebound, however. Michael is still going to be having some presence in the fight. The Iron Shells are burning away, but KJ is out of mana. Schofield now has been separated away from the rest of the crew, so he can be killed off by himself. PP even rotates in with the Ember Spirit, looking towards bringing down KJ. Activates the Haste Rune to make sure he has the chase down, and this Ember Spirit will find his first kill of the game onto the Shadow Shaman. Like you said, opened up for the rotation, and they came through with heat from the side of Edge.
Now the question is, now that there are 4 heroes up here, if they're thinking about maybe stealing a Wisdom. Ember is pretty strong in this fight. He's got 3 points in Flame Guard. He is level 6. And yeah, they are planning it. Puppy connecting with them.
Dire's middle tower.
In the meantime, Vitaly will take the bottom one. So this has to work for Heroic. They're planning this fight. They're going to walk into trouble. Oh, this is going to be something else.
Whisper seems to have awareness that somebody might be here. It goes on the high ground now, gets the vision onto PP. KJ is here too, and they zoned away from the shrine. Now they're contesting for it. PP hoping to try and bring down Whisper. They rebound him away, and they're looking for the kill. Shackles though, in with the TP from Analog. The Avatars will be able to kill off Michael. However, Whisper falls in the exchange as well. Analog now, having lost half of his HP as Parker is putting the screws onto him with the right-click damage. They do end up killing off the Phoenix, and now Shackles out onto the Ember Spirit, only to try and save KJ's life a little bit longer. But that duration will end. No, he actually just out-jukes PP.
Nice movement.
KJ, God.
Yeah, that's the one silver lining there, is that he survived, but you still lost both Wisdoms. That is a very big win for the Dire side. Support levels, this Clockwork, I can tell you from experience, playing Clockwork without levels feels awful, and Schofield is gonna be starving here. Level 3 minute 8 on the clock. Has to play with Darkseers to bring him back in the game, either through Ion Shell farming on the creep camps or through somehow making some plays, but Clockwork is not feeling very good here. 0-4 and 3.
And they need to find some place to get levels. It would help if they were able to get a kill top to open up the tower. I think that's one of the biggest drawbacks of them not finding that earlier kill. They're just gonna struggle a little bit with opening up the map for themselves. And they're playing with Tiny, so until he has a Blink Dagger, he can't do it for them. PP is happy to make rotations to help his team at this stage. How's Yuma doing? Just on the way towards his Manta. Falcon Blade, Power Treads. Did just crack the level 6, holding on to the skill point to see if it's necessary.
Yeah, pretty standard stuff. Like, this is just... Terrorblade's just going to be farming in this game for another 10 minutes, probably, before he even makes a move. It's not a very easy lineup for Terrorblade to fight into. There's a lot of pitfalls against Phoenix, against Centaur, the magic damage. Ember with max Flame Guard can be a little bit spicy, but you're probably be more worried about max Chains, to be honest. But still... Expect this game to quiet down a little bit for a while. Parker will also be more than happy to make it a race with the Terrorblade, as he should be winning that race as Templar Assassin with the start he had, probably.
D-Lance already available. Desolate and Blink Dagger now being queued up, so the standard TA stuff. If the game starts to turn a little pear-shaped, we'll probably see BKB. If not, we'll go straight into Pike/damage item. How's the rest of the lineup doing? The main thing I'm concerned about is this Blink Dagger for Analog. Like, Whisper is busy farming away, trying to finish off the arcane boots here and everything, but until they get this Blink Dagger, Heroic can't really do too much, and I think they might be able to actually kill him middle. The Avalanche will be there just as they land, and they're trying to surround him, but they don't have the full lockdown. Instead, it's Heroic who come through. They found the shackles and the hex out onto Michael, but they don't have the follow-up damage necessary. PP just walks through the vacuum wall like it's nothing. Goes bottom to secure a regen rune, and everything is Gucci. He's gonna get out. Might even pick up some Whisper creeps on the way.
And he didn't really have to commit anything. Oh, Puppy. Puppy has Tranquil, so he doesn't have to go back to base. He's gonna regenerate up in less than a minute. He'll be full.
Lots of skirmishing that's happened that hadn't necessarily resulted in towers. In fact, here we are, 11 minutes in. All the towers are still relatively healthy in all the lanes. So, it's an open question who's going to be able to open up the score sheet in that regard. For now, though, the big winners are the carries with so much safe space to be able to play with. They're just quietly doing nothing, happy to just farm.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Here comes Tiny. You see a smoke from Heroic. They don't have the TB with them, but he's going to take the Twin Gate. Coming through with KJ. They want to try and muscle through onto top and secure this tower. Unfortunately for them, Edge seems to have made a recognition of this move. And it's going to be a hook shot forward, going in onto Marcy. Michael does have the Unleash, but it's not really going to help him. He's been shackled up by KJ, killed off easily by Yuma. And with the Metamorphosis active, there should be a cleanup on the tier 1 tower as well.
Yeah, they're just going to sell him. That move is... If you force a counterplay here from the side of Edge, it's probably going to end pretty badly, so... Heroic will get their objective. They will finally make some use of the meta of Terrorblade, and now he's heading back bottom to try and defend this lane as well against Vitality. So if they manage to get a tower and hold their own, that would be quite good. Seems to be exactly what is going to be the end result. And Darkseer now, top net worth. Another Whisper Darkseer game where he is just farming out of control. See if he can get the same result as last time, which was a loss. So hopefully not for him.
What, do you think the build is still appropriate for this game, that he's going back for the Orchid again?
He switched to Crimson.
Oh, okay.
Just now. I don't... I'm not sure how much I love the Crimson. It's good against TA and to some extent... I mean, there's also Slide. You know what? It's good. It's good enough. I think that's completely fine. Even if
Speaking
it's
of
an Ember
slides,
that has gone to max Flame Guard.
it's going to be used bottom onto Terrorblade, as they actually go first onto KJ, but he does manage to send back the stuns onto PP, so they kill him off, but it gives time for Whisper and Schofield to arrive. Vitali trying to get out with the Stampede, but Schofield, he messed up, he couldn't get off the power cogs. Vitali though, as his Stampede ends, he will be surrounded by these heroic heroes. Look at his team just beating onto the tower, leaving him to his own devices, but he's surviving longer than expected. The Avalanche though will be there. Vitali's still alive. Only now does he die, but now with the chain gang stuns, there's a supernova about to pop. Tiny stunned up with Whisper and Schofield. Do they have the damage to kill all of them though? Doesn't seem like it. They don't have the numerical numbers. PP being corralled into the corner, surrounded, killed. Ion Shell secures the double kill for Whisper. It looked solid for a moment, but when you're playing with all of these heroes in your face, you only have 3 of them, you're bound to end up losing the fight.
Yeah, that was a numbers problem. Parker was taking mid tower. And that was kind of Edge's choice. They could have let Centaur die and call it a day, but they chose to feel like they could fight and turn around, and I would 100% have agreed with that assessment if you had the TA available, but alas, she was mid, so you're going to take the L on that one, and it's a nice little sequence there for Heroic, keeping their Terrorblade alive. Yuma is now 4-0. In spite of that, he's still behind the TA on net worth, but being close. Schofield got the shrine. I mean, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Even though he dies, it's not too bad.
Gets the shrine, forces a rotation. Although this probably leads to the death of the tier 1 tower, right? There's no way they're going to commit this many heroes and then just let the tower survive.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Tier 1 will go down. First one taken right now by Edge. Oh, they took the mid one, like you mentioned, for Parker. So 2 tier 1s for them. However, in the interim, the big item has now emerged for Heroic. Analog has Blink Dagger on the Tiny, so they can start to make their own aggressive plays on the map. Still a very shallow gold lead here.
Tower is under attack.
What do you think he goes? Is PP right now is going for the Blade Mail into the Sange for now, probably going to turn it into a Kaya Sange later. What do you think the build-up is for the Ember here? We saw an Ember completely ignore BKB in the prior game. Can you afford to give up the BKB here, or is the Shadow Shaman threat too great?
If you go Kaya Sange, I'm debating here if you can go Sange and Yasha and then not go BKB, because that's a build we've seen Embers do as well. If you're going Kaya Sange, I think you eventually will need either BKB or Lincolns. If you go Sange and Yasha, maybe you can go Sange and Yasha Ags. But perhaps you can also just go Kaya Sange Ags. Now that I think about it, is there going to be enough lockdown? Like, let's say you do get caught by Shaman and he casts everything. You have teammates. So you can just get caught, saved by a rebound. You can get Sun Raid, because you're going to have pretty high HP if you're buying all these stat items. Like Kaya Sange plus Ags is probably like 2600 HP, then Sunray starts healing you a lot. I think Kaya Sange Ags is fine. When I look at this, why not?
And I think I see why Whisper decided to make the switch from his Orchid earlier. Schofield is the one that's building it on the clockwork. So he will definitely have the Orchid. They'll find the silence somewhere on the map.
I don't love that here for Schofield. I don't think his game is good enough for this. The problem is you're going to get this Orchid so late that the only real targets you're going to be able to Orchid with reliable high impact is probably going to be the supports. Like, perhaps you can find one occasional opportunity on the Ember, but once again, that isn't necessarily a kill if there's any protection nearby. Versus getting some cheaper guaranteed value items like a Glimmer Cape or a Force Staff or even a Lotus Orb if you wanted to go for a bigger item. Big ticket items here, Lotus is great. You can remove the Slight Chains, you can remove Meld Strike, minus armor, you can try to reposition, and you get tankier a lot yourself, so you can actually... My concern here is, he gets this Orchid, every time he hookshots in, he dies in 1 sec. Like, the hero is just extremely frail, and it does not have any repositioning tools. But we'll see. He might shut me up with some big Orchid plays in 5 minutes.
We shall see. Speaking of repositioning, the Grand Repositioner himself, Centaur, rolling with Michael on the Marcy. They're looking for somebody. They want to reveal this Blink Dagger on Centaur. Unfortunately, all of Heroic are playing super defensively. Analog not going to break the smoke either. And yep, nobody's going to die. Everything's Gucci for Heroic. In the meantime, they've just been farming. Whisper pushing out top. This Yuma farming some camps, but now they actually come back in numbers, like looking like they want to fight. They actually found a vacuum with Whisper. Unfortunately, there was no follow-up hookshot to hold the heroes in position, so Marcy and Phoenix easily escape.
Nice rune for Enola.
Yeah.
Looking for a mid push now. Terrorblade starting off slow. I mean fast. Alright, it's gone. No defense from Edge.
They're actually pinging Roshan. They want to drop the mass open worlds on top of him, and they still have this AD rune sitting on the Tiny. Can they get away with this?
It's one big snake. Similar to the last time you and I cast Shaman versus TA, the Shaman has chosen to take the one big Serpent Lord rather than the many small ones to break refraction faster. Which is interesting, but of course it will be great for this.
It's already gone just in time, just before. Oh no, they look at the Aegis. It's still on the ground. Somebody? Aegis? Okay, Yuma finally gets it as they get the stuns now out onto Poppy. They want to kill him. Vacuum wall onto 3 heroes from Whisper. They blow up Poppy. They've already eliminated the Ember Spirit as well. Poppy just has to watch as Parker, his star carry player, gets surrounded by heroic heroes, killed off easily. They came in, they had the right read, the Roshan was happening, but they arrived just a little bit too late. And they get cleaned up as a result, don't even claim the Aegis.
PP just jumped in and died, right? He got nothing off on the Ember. That's kind of a death sentence in this situation. You didn't get Ember spells off, you didn't get Supernova off, you used Stampede, but nobody's doing damage during it. Parker comes in too late. That was really uncoordinated from Edge. Like, that's just not gonna cut it in this type of competition if you're playing the fights that way. That's a pretty major mistake and extremely costly there. You can see PP now readjusting his build. He's now gonna go for AVULUS.
Yeah.
And that was before, I guess he's seeing that or Clockwork is going Orchid. That's why he's pivoting his build here. But now that also means he has this random belt of strength doing very little. That was not it.
Well, it's not a belt of strength, it's a belt of swag. You know, just a cosmetic for PP. That's how I'll make it okay. As they smoke up now, Edge, immediately after the fight, they're still going right back in. Unfortunately for them, Heroic are waiting perfectly in the right location. They do not want to give up this Tormentor. There's an Observer down from Edge. But even if they do see a target, who do you go on with your heroes right now? They're going to go for the wrap. And here's Heroic smoking up as well. Whisper going forward, and they caught the Marcy. Michael is down. Whisper once more. This is not going to be enough for him. Clockwork looking for the angle. They get the silence out onto the Ember Spirit. They drag him back. He's forced to use to safety. There's a Supernova, but it's very far away. Will they be able to keep PP long enough alive for this to pop? Yes. It does come out. Now Stampede is popped, but the Avalanche toss stops the center from running away. Nice little pick-me-up from Marcy to stay Vitali. The Giga Ward dropped down into the middle of the fight. Another rebound. Analog far away from the crew, eating this unleashed damage, and he's going to end up dead. The Sunder came in, but it was a misclick. Didn't find the right target, so the Tiny is gone. Gets followed into the grave by the Shadow Shaman, and now they can clean up the Giga Ward. Edge, despite the fact that the Marcy got caught first at the beginning of the engagement, they are able to turn it all around. It was expensive, not cheap. Did require a buyback from the Marcy, but it will net you a Tormentor and a team fight win.
The Ember AVULUS is a total game changer in that fight, right? He got Orchid and he probably would have died on the spot, but instead they get a full value Supernova. He gets the AVULUS off against the Orchid of Clockwork to mitigate that play from Schofield, and that's the big difference maker here. This time around, all the heroes got to do stuff. Well, okay, seems like they'll pay a little bit on their way out. Okay,
they're not done just yet. They get the hook shot onto Parker. He's dead for sure. He will at least be able to kill off Schofield, so that's something, but he loses his life. It's a double kill for Yuma, 3-kill involvement for the Terrorblade. So you won round 1, boys, but were you ready for round 2 when Yuma was actually prepared to box?
Who do you think is winning this game right now? Because I sure don't know.
The one person that hasn't died? Terrorblade, of course.
All right, fair enough. Just like the other games in this series, up until this mid-game point, it always just seems to go back and forth who's winning fights, taking turns. And then, if history is an indication, now the next fight, the next big one, Heroic will win, because they need to get their 12k lead that they've had in both games. So if that's gonna come, it won't be too far from now. That's been the overall trend, the better mid-game.
What do you think of Analog's Hand of Midas queued up right now on the Tiny?
I don't love it, but I also don't think it's okay. Like I think other mid-Tinies in this position and with this net worth, you know your game isn't great, but is Midas really gonna recover you that much versus just getting another like value item? There are many different things you could do in this game to have teamfight impact right now. You could get a BKB, you could go for Octarine Core if you wanted to get some sort of a hybrid thing with farming slash fighting. But he is committed.
He says BKB is good, greed is even better. So
Well, is Midas better than Shard? If you just want to farm.
Now that's a good question.
Is under attack.
I'm not sure this is better efficiency. Like, you get some attack speed, obviously, which is nice. And you get the experience, but you're not at a point with this tiny where the levels are going to be that crucial to get right now.
Dire's bottom tower is under
Yeah, I don't know. He
Tiny
still
players
hasn't
in
used his
chat.
Midas yet.
Please let us know. Do you prefer buying Shard or do you prefer buying Midas? Well, I know right now Whisper would prefer to not be dove by the entire enemy team. Unfortunately, that's what's happening, but he's taking so long to die. Even gets off a pretty big vacuum. The team is not here to help him, but he does have the Centaur Conqueror, stunning pretty much the entire team. Now he walls them as well, and they kill Phoenix? What the hell? How did
How
that
is that
happen?
the outcome of
And
that
now
situation?
Ember Spirit getting silenced up, tossed into the air by Analog. He needs to get out of here. Does have some remnants to throw around, but now he's out of mana here, and Avalanche holds him in place, and he ends up dead. What the hell happened? Whisper, God, how did he make that play?
I mean, he's got Crimson Pipe, so he's stupid tanky. I still thought they could have probably killed him there with the heroes, but I guess not. It's just too much to get through. He then gets a 5-man vacuum.
Dire's top tower
Okay.
is under
Oh, that's good news for Heroic. I mean, can I, dare I say it? Is it the same script? That's that mid-game team fight they needed to win. Just that it didn't even start as a team fight. It started as a 5v1 that he won.
The largest gold lead we've seen that still was swung in either of the games was 7k. So 8+ does seem relatively safe if you're able to maintain that lead. That like, yeah, guys, we can win from this position.
Didn't Heroic have 12 in game 1 and then lost?
Oh, snap, you're right. You're right, gang.
That's my frame of reference. In game 2, when they got to 13, I'm like, all right, this was better than game 1. And now, well, they're approaching it again.
Big fight. Scotty now picked up by the Terror Blade. At the same time, though, there's big damage emerging from the Temper Assassin. She has been quietly elevating herself, at least trying to. She has a Revenant's Brooch now available. So that's a big damage output. Unfortunately, she doesn't have a BKB or a Hurricane Pike, so she's still defensively quite fragile.
tower is under attack. Radiant are scanning.
I still can't
Got
believe
the
this.
replay here. Like, look at this. Then the vacuum into a 3-man Centaur creep stomp with Ion Chill on it, so it runs down and kills Puppy here. He doesn't want to egg nothing. My God, man.
Not my God, my Whisper. That's who you should be praying to right now.
My goat, man.
You know, we had that content piece earlier from Quinn, where they were judging the offlaners, and he was like, Whisper's the GOAT. Now he's here to see why.
I will say, though, I think Quinn said GOAT about another player in the same clip, so there can only
But
be
the other
one.
player
You
was
can't-
Faith Beyond.
You can't be, yeah, well, I think he has more of a claim to it than Whisper does, to be fair, but either way, you can't have two people both be the greatest of all time. So I think Quinn just doesn't understand the concept of GOAT, or he's using it very liberally as the kids do with language these days. They just say things.
What if he's a sports fan? You know, in sports you can often have, you know, generational players simultaneously, and part of the fun is arguing who's actually better, even if there's no conclusive answer.
Yeah, but you're generally not arguing with yourself.
Have you met sports fans, bro?
They argue with each other.
Themselves.
Are scanning.
Themselves.
I guarantee. Call up Suns fan, right? Tell him to say something today about basketball, right? And ask him the same question tomorrow and see if he has the same opinion. It won't be the same.
Oh, you mean he changes his opinion on who's the best player in the world overnight?
It can happen. Just how you're feeling on that particular day. The thing you saw lost. So we can. Or let's put it this way, fine. Let's make it fair, right? Faith Beyond is the definite GOAT, but Whisper can be the #1 contender.
Okay. All right. I don't have Faith Beyond as the GOAT either, but that's fine.
Who is your
He's in the
GOAT?
conversation, for sure. Actually, maybe he maybe with a bit too rose-tinted goggles because of the Wings run. But let's not get into that debate of who's the greatest of all time on any position. It's always so difficult.
Game just got
Shiva's
more
now,
difficult.
in case he wasn't tanky enough. 46 armor.
46 armor, 2.3k HP, the Pipe of Insight for the magic resist. You still have the Crimson Guard to be able to put on. And you're gonna have an Aegis now for the Terrorblade ahead of you, as the Giga Ward has been dropped into the pit. The last time that they knew about this.
It's another game that Darkseer has, Whisper has higher net worth than Parker. We're almost half an hour in. He is so rich. It really makes sense that Heroic are rating this hero as high as they are. When Whisper can consistently get this farmed with his Helm of the Dominator build. It's, he's level 20, man.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Highest level hero in the game is Terrorblade at 21, and here he is at 20. Love to see it. Oh, now that they have this Aegis until... I was gonna ask you that,
right?
man. You're the smart one. You figure it out.
I'm thinking to myself, I mean, maybe you wait for Parker to get BKB, and then that's your cue to go. Well, that's dead Phoenix.
Yeah. Nothing you can do about that one. They might try dive Parker middle, but he blinks away just in time. Tiny was thinking about it. But thankfully there is some TA traps to provide the vision necessary to protect Parker.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant's top tower is under attack.
What's happening bottom here? Schofield found
He almost
these
found
heroes.
both of them.
Yeah. Last second
Process of
TP out.
elimination, just looking across the map, where could they possibly farm? He's basically playing scout right now on the clock, trying to find heroes. Because it's very clear to him that Edge are playing keep away, and they're just trying to find farm on more obscure places on the map. So
Dire's
he'll
bottom
start
tower
looking into
is
those
under
nooks and
attack.
crannies. Didn't find them though. Now he has X. Now it will be easier to find them.
They're coming towards them though. Smoke up. Haste Rune activated by the Tiny. TA
this will
just
be the
pick up a
green
BKB,
target.
but this could be amazing. They get the jump, they get the connection, the refractions are down, but they need some follow-up. Yuma there with the meta. Parker does get off the BKB, and they have the Stampede as well. Clockwork wasn't in the vicinity, unfortunately, so they couldn't lock him in the power cogs. So that's still nice though to force an early BKB. He just picked it up, already forced to pull the Nightfall to stay alive.
This is an immediate tier 2 tower. Who knows? Maybe they'll even try for more here. They still have Aegis. Yep, they're showing intent to go high ground here. Analog smoked up. If he could find
Whoever
the toss
shows-
on Parker, it could end the game.
He doesn't have
Next wave
buyback
is on the
either.
way. The wave is connecting, so this back door will fall.
Okay, there's Tiny going on to Poppy. Poppy's still alive, hasn't been brought down just yet. There's a stun back onto the Analog. There's a supernova from Poppy. Analog forced to Poppy's BKB. And they do use the rebound to save Vitali, but a BKB on Analog in exchange for a supernova. Okay, they did drop the mass supernova though. The Giga Ward gets taken away. That should probably end the push.
Yeah, Analog was trying for a blink in toss on Puppy, but I think Puppy was on top of a TA trap that instantly silenced the Tiny, so the toss didn't go off. If Analog had BKB'd there when he blinked in and got the toss out on the Phoenix and they killed him on the spot, Puppy would not have had buyback. That could have been a really big moment for Heroic, but heads up play, whoever activated that trap on Edge keeps the Phoenix alive.
Prepare for a lesson.
8k gold deficit right now. They are starting to go into a nullifier for PP here. So that'll be nice. Unfortunately, that does mean we're not going to be having Ags or BKB anytime soon from this Ember Spirit. We still do not have the Swift Blink available for Parker, so quite some time before they have their next big ticket items. We'll see if they can contest for this Tormentor. That's where Heroic are heading next. And they have some heroes in the area for Edge, but I don't know about this one, gang. I think you have to let this one go.
Yeah, he's out of there on Puppy. Concedes the area. So this is going to be another Tormentor going Heroic's way. Who would they like to get it on? Get it on Shaman or on Tiny? Or Claw, actually. It's Shaman or Claw.
Clockwork. Woohoo! Jetpack, baby.
Probably decent here. Able to maybe find some information when you're making invasive plays around tree lines. If you can isolate, for example, a hero like Marcy very quickly and take her out, or find the Phoenix to build your fight up with. Give vision for your Tiny to get the blink tossbacks.
They're hunting right now from the top lane. They took a long rotation. It ends up, it would have been faster to just go straight from the Twin Gate than having to take it through. Unfortunate.
Yeah.
They caught a sliver of vision of Vitaly, so they know the general area where he's at. And now they see him. Here's the jump forward. Analog gets on top of him. He does pop the stampede. Do they get him out of here? No, they do not. They do find the kill. He is gone. Nothing he can do about that one. And they also found more. They found Puppy, but they found Parker. That's the big deal. Schofield is here this time. And they've already gotten rid of the Stampede, so they don't have to worry about that. Parker does have a TP. Is he going to try and do the Nightfall? Yes, he is. And he will escape due to it. Puppy also lucky enough to leave since the rest of the team was preoccupied with the Templar Assassin.
Yeah, they have no other BKB piercing stun than Hookshot, so when that has already been expended by Schofield and he tries to go in and isolate the TA, has to get out. I feel like this would be a good game for Schofield to buy a Ghost Scepter. If his main goal is to just get on top of TA and keep her busy, with a Ghost Scepter he can protect himself for those additional seconds of the TA BKB and maybe get a second volley of spells out. Obviously when you're playing with the overclocking, you really want to spam out those rocket flares during the fight, but if you're initiating with Hookshot and then dying instantly, you miss out on all of the Ags value.
Unfortunately, if he does go for the Ghost Scepter, he's going to find a Nullifier already ready from PP. But like you say, his concern is the TA, so if they have to commit the Nullifier onto him, then so be it, I guess. $10K gold lead right now in favor of Heroic. Aegis has expired, so they're going to wait for the next one before mounting another high ground push. However, in the interim, they are still scaling. Analog about to finish the Octarine core. Whisper about to get himself the young Hex, I think. Or is he also going Octarine? No, he's going Hex. Okay. And on the other side, though, BKB for Marcy, but crucially, Parker, the game winner. He has had enough since. He's not going Daedalus. He's not going Nullifier, not going Butterfly, not going MKB. We're going straight into the Divine Rapier.
I'm not sure how much more damage the Rapier is than a Daedalus per gold here, and then you factor in the risk-reward of it. I mean, obviously it's better, but you gotta remember you're playing without... Oh, never mind, he has Revenant's Brooch. I'm being silly. Yeah, of course. I was thinking if he doesn't have a critical strike, this isn't like a slam dunk, way better purchase or anything, but he has Brooch, so of course. He's got the crit, then it will, without a doubt, be the purchase here. But will he have time to get there? Here come Heroic. High ground, attempt number 2, really, I guess. The first one was mid. And this time without the Aegis, they're just gonna get the lane. Oh, the Serpent Lord's too far away to hit the melee racks.
Yeah, but the illusions are right there, so it should be fine. PP though, at the gang, they found Schofield. They want to try and bring down this clock, but Whisper there again with the vacuum wall, dragging in 3. They all get away from the Supernova as well. They are able to rebound Schofield back towards Vitaly, but they still don't have the damage to actually kill him. Now Vitaly is the one that's in trouble. He's been hexed up, chained in by the Shadow Shaman, does pop the Stampede, barely gets away. In the meantime, he actually does die. The right click chased him up the hill. They do bring down the Shadow Shaman though. Now Parker trying to get back into the base as they've lost the Marcy. Analog was flying low, but he gets a BKB off, evades the damage from PP, and Parker now needs to run to get him back with the vacuum from Whisper. Unfortunately though, he does have a BKB, retreats onto the high ground using it. The rockets will be there, they disable the blinks. No further chase coming in from Edge. Heroic get a lane of racks, lose a Shadow Shaman, and get up.
And they get 2 kills too, so that's a really big win for them. And Roshan is alive up top. With Centaur and Marcy dead, you could think about this, just going in there straight away with TB. Don't necessarily need the Mass Serpent Ward for this, but... Oh, Yuma's 25. Oh, it's going to be a long next meta. 80-second duration.
Oh, God.
And he's going to have a Butterfly as well to go with it. Against this TA. TA, of course, playing without True Strike, so this really swings the matchup by a ton.
The part of the problem with that fight as well is that they didn't really commit all that much from Heroic to defend that fight. So it's not even like you're saying, well, all their spells are down, let's go and try and force a Roche. You're the ones that actually use more spells than they did. So how do you fight around this pit? Because I don't foresee them being able to defend high ground into 2 Terrorblade lives. So what should you do as Edge to stop this from happening?
Well, if you can get a smoke wrap around and take advantage of TA's 25 bash talent here, could get a moment of surprise perhaps. Oh, now he's showing off the talent against a Terrorblade Illusion, but you need to effectively, you need to get the jump and you need to place a good supernova and play around that. That's step number 1. Problem is, your damage is so heavily centered around Parker that if the enemy team disengages, that's what we saw in the previous fight, right? It was actually a pretty decent supernova, but the pipe goes out, the Crimson goes out, and Heroic's heroes are just too tanky. So Parker has to be able to stand and deliver. The dream fight is you jump and kill Darkseer, right? Before he gets auras off. That would be the best possible thing that could happen. And I'm not gonna break. Immediate blink out.
There's that MKB now for the Templar Assassin, so he does have right-click options directly into the Terrorblade. They just need help controlling him. They've lost their outpost now. And they're actually gonna go into the pit. This is, you know, high risk, but potentially extremely high reward. Unfortunately, the enemy team has Clockwork. They throw in the rocket
There's no
flare.
way you get away with this. Roche Wars and there's a clock.
But maybe it's a debate, Cinderin. They were just trying to force them into this engagement, and they're going in. They found Whisper first. He's the tiger. Swofield actually just gets bursted 100-0. Unfortunately, PP also gets caught by KJ and Yuma. So they trade a Clockwork for an Ember Spirit. Hashtag not worth. PP thought he had it, but he didn't. Now the fight's gonna happen in the river. Look at the damage out into the analog. Tiny, he's gone. Parker doing the hit, but Scorpio with the buyback. They're trying to lock down Parker. He's eating the Metamorphosis hit from the Terrorblade. Trying to escape now. Whisper right on top of his face. His BKB is about to expire. His own illusion is beating into him. And now Parker is dead. Puppy came in to help, but all he helps is the net worth of the Terrorblade as he gets ripped apart, granting a double kill to TB. Now with the shackles onto PP. He just fought back. He can't die. Before he even remnants forward, Cinderin, he gets taken apart by the dataless crit of Yuma. 4 heroes down, 2 of them, the cores, do not have buyback. And Yuma is still standing strong. With the bonus metamorphosis, he is gonna come barreling down the mid lane.
Dude, I'm still stunned by how that fight even started. PP just jumped right into Shadow Shaman, got hexed and died. He doesn't have BKB, so you can't make that play. Like, he literally just served himself up on a platter, got eaten alive. Like you said, the Clockwork was the trade. That's not a good trade. Here we are. You gotta buy back Phoenix on Puppy. All in. Oh,
you gotta die back Phoenix on Puppy.
That's Glimmer.
Whew. But do they have an Ancient is the question. Giga Ward being dropped down now as well. Marcy just dead immediately. Oh my goodness, Vitali gets drawn back with the vacuum from Whisper. Him and Puppy cannot approach. The Ancient is down. The game is called. GG, well...